Welcome back to week 6 of Rambo-thon. Wait,
No. Hold on.
Not Rambo.
That's not Sylvester Stallone?
Nope, that is not.
That's Carlos.
It's a pile of hair called Carlos
Norris. I'm Derek.
I'm Whitney.
I'm Jack.
This is Bad Movies.
Worst People.
Oh, you doing a Chuck Norris impression?
Move it.
I got to take
Move
my
it.
shirt off for that one.
I can recap the first 20 minutes. He only says move it.
Okay. You could probably recap this whole movie in 20 words if you really wanted to.
Move it.
Rambo
Window
2
Olympics.
Rambo 2. Do you
Knife
think that they
throwing.
got a hold of a Rambo 2 script? Because this came out before Rambo 2.
Did it?
Yeah. By a year, I think. So it's
Yes.
after Rambo. It's after First Blood. But
Okay.
it's before First Blood Part 2.
All right.
The naming comes back to bite us in the ass.
So was this Chuck's like come back at you for First Blood and be like, no, it should be like this.
This
For-
is how you should do it. Now,
for
here's the
MIAs.
problem. A Chuck Norris impersonation sounds just like this. It sounds like a white dude talking.
No, you
There
need to
is no-
need to not move your mouth and don't show inflection.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Exactly. There you go.
I need to move it.
Oh, we should have had Ben for this one. He's
I
do the
thought
perfect Chuck
about
Norris.
Ben every time this guy took off a shirt. I mean, did you notice how hairy he was? But also, it was like he took a number 3 guard to a Clippers over his
Yes.
whole body because this was maintained fur.
Yes, it was.
I mean, it's the 80s. Women liked hairy men, right?
Absolutely, but
Yeah.
the term manscaping wasn't a thing yet, and
Yeah.
somebody's doing it to this guy because
100%.
left unchecked.
Did we mention what we were doing?
Oh,
No.
no.
Okay. This is 1984's Missing in Action. And yes, it is a Rambo 2 knockoff because apparently Canon Films, who produced this and a lot of other schlocky stuff,
Oh yeah,
they were approached for Rambo 2, but they couldn't afford it because their general budget was in like the $2 to $4 million range.
general budget.
General budget.
General budget.
We all saluted, by the way. If you guys could see
You
that.
can see that.
If you know the joke, you know what we did.
But yeah, so they couldn't afford to produce Rambo 2, and so basically they made this.
They made their Rambo 2.
Yeah. This was
Rambo
this is-
TOO.
Rambo
We're
2.
also Rambo.
This is a pretty interesting little like production because so we watched the behind the scenes thing with the writer, the guy named James Brunner.
He watched
and,
it. I didn't.
Well, she was sitting next to me. And he talked about how he had written the script called Missing in Action and he was trying to sell it and whatever. There was a meeting with Globus. I can't think of the guy's first name. The guys who own Canon have the craziest fucking names.
I saw the name Globus pop up. I was like, is he a character? Is Globus the bad guy? Because that sounds awesome.
I mean,
I thought
he's
it was a company.
Globus, like an evil company?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the guy's last names.
All right then.
They basically he had a meeting with them and they were like, well, actually we have this other script called Missing in Action that we like more. So what they did was they took the other script, they started filming it, and as they were filming it or when they were finishing it up or something, they were like, hey, or no, while they were filming it, they were like, this movie kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So let's take
I
that
had the
other
same
Missing
thought when
in
I was
Action.
watching it.
No, this isn't even the one we're watching.
Yeah.
They took the other script for Missing in Action. They were like, well, we'll make that too. So the guy adapted it to fit into their thing. So they filmed Missing in Action 1 and 2 at the same time.
Oh.
This
how
one was
bold.
supposed to be number 2. And then number 2 was supposed to be number 1. That's why number 2 is Missing in Action 2, the beginning. It's a prequel, quote unquote.
So just like the Rambos, they're really bad at naming.
Yes.
Because the third one is called Braddock, Missing in Action 3. So,
Okay then.
they basically made them both, and they realized that the one that was supposed to be the first movie was fucking terrible.
Yep.
And this movie was much better. So they reversed them. They put this movie out first, and then they just released the other movie as a prequel.
There's no need to have that other movie. If it's
No.
if it's worse than this, there's no reason it should exist.
I'm assuming the other movie
didn't mean to
tells
rhyme.
the story of the like flashbacks that we see a little bit. I don't know because I haven't watched it yet. I do own it. So
Can we
we'll
talk
watch it.
about? I don't know if it's a flashback or not, but it's like one of the beginning scenes here. He's him and his oh god, what they say what they are, Black Panther Rangers, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think those are the Vietnamese Rangers that were helping them because that's the guys that he saves at the end.
Okay. Well, okay. The reason I'm worried because it's him and some people just shooting, trading gunshots with the VC.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, there's a guy below him, and he pulls out 2 hand grenades, pulls the pins, and jumps down with them.
Yeah.
Which is a
fuck was
dope
that?
ass suicide move at the end of the movie.
But then the tower blows up. Yeah, I have a note of that because
I was so lost. I'm looking at him like, is this a dream? If it is a flashback, I need to see how he's alive.
100%.
with no scars.
With no scars. Like, did he put these grenades in the guy's front pocket and then, just tickle him away?
I don't know. That was something I definitely because that's a trailer scene when he jumps off the thing with the grenades.
And he's like,
but then it's like, yeah, nothing comes of it. I don't understand.
I will say that it does look badass. My problem is it should be the end of the movie and there's nothing else coming after it. There's no sequel. It's like, hey, Chuck Norris or whatever this fucking character's name is, Carlos. So Carlos, jumps off the tower with the double grenades and saves everybody, but he dies. End of movie, end of franchise.
Hopefully.
I know,
Move on.
Not
I
true.
do know this, and you're talking about because he killed the 2 guys killed his 2 guys.
Yeah.
Or he's just sitting there bayoneting.
Yeah,
Beretting.
he's doing their hair. You're mine now. This is called a French braid, you idiot.
That's what I did to you.
Oh, I look so pretty.
You do look so pretty.
We'll go through a couple things real quick. Movie came out in 1984. Directed by a guy named Joseph Zito. Who's
not Aaron Norris.
No.
I was waiting for
Aaron
that name
Norris
to pop
did number
up.
3, and he did the stunt coordinating for this one.
Okay, so he is involved. It is a
Yeah.
family thing.
And it's actually... So Chuck Norris's story is that he wanted to do this movie or a Vietnam movie because their other brother, Waylon, I believe his name was
Killed.
died in Vietnam.
Okay.
And he was like, and the returning soldiers were being treated like shit, and he thought they deserved more respect, so he decided to make a movie where they were murderers.
We will treat it like shit.
Joseph Zito, I think most well known to me
For
at
his
least,
baked dish?
for
that's ziti.
Friday the 13th, the final chapter.
I've never seen
Guess
it.
what? It's not the final chapter. It's like the middle.
It's like the Eagles farewell tour. We'll see you next year, dude. When you need some money, Joe Walsh.
Can't think right now if it's 4 or 5. I think it's 5. But there's 10, so
It's the
11 if
five-hole
you count
chapter.
Jason versus Freddy or whatever. So technically, it's not even the middle chapter.
Can I say something awesome about this movie really quick? About one of the names of the stuntmen?
What?
Jean C. Van Damme is a stuntman.
John C? No, it's J. Claude.
Oh,
Van
J.
Damme.
Claude. Sorry.
J. Claude Van Damme, though, is a stuntman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Actually, so Jean-Claude Van Damme was a stuntman for this movie, and during filming, he got the offer to do Bloodsport, which is also Canon Films, and basically was like, cool, peace out, and just left.
Yeah. Well, smart move for us.
Yeah. That made me happy.
And smart move for Canon.
Zito also directed Invasion USA, which is another Chuck Norris masterpiece.
Invasion USA. Sounds like a fucking 2023 Bruce Springsteen song.
I haven't seen it, but I'm going to say based on the title and the cover that it's like Red Dawn.
Okay.
I don't know. And then Red
Wolverines.
Scorpion with, is it Dolph Lundgren? It's Red Scorpion.
Yes.
Another Canon film. So, James Bruner, the writer, he wrote An Eye for an Eye, which was Chuck Norris's first
I
movie.
confuse Red Heat and Red Scorpion. Red Heat is Arnold with Belushi.
Yes.
Okay.
That sounds right.
Yeah, it sounds wrong when you watch it.
My parents watched that. That's back in the 80s, isn't it?
Yeah.
Red Heat?
Just because your parents did it doesn't mean it was right.
True.
I mean, at some point, people owned slaves. Doesn't mean it was right.
They also own Hot Dog the movie, so
Oh, yeah, now you're really selling it.
I made Derek watch that movie.
It's a movie.
It's a ski
Yeah.
movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a
And
ski movie where
porn.
there's people having like orgies and doing cocaine, and
I'll be right
somebody's
back.
got
I gotta
to
go get Hot Dog the movie.
I don't know. Somebody's got to save the summer camp. Probably. I
It's
don't know.
Ernest. It's James Varn. You know what I mean, Varn?
I was so obsessed with this movie though when I was 8 years old.
God, so unhealthy.
It's a
After
boob
what you
comedy.
just said about all the orgies, you're obsessed with it.
Yeah.
It explains a lot about her.
Yeah, you're making some sense here.
That was my childhood.
I mean, you
It
know
was
what?
just a
Just
little
save
peek.
just save this episode for therapy, and you're gonna save some time.
True.
So this movie cost $2.55 million to make.
2.55.
2.55.
2.55.
1 million of that went to Mr. Norris.
Oh, Carlos.
So this movie cost $1.5 million to make.
Yep. Kind of shows.
Yeah. But
You have two sets. You have Vietnam and you have this hotel.
You have the Philippines. It's all in the Philippines.
Well, sorry. They didn't go to Vietnam.
Even when he was stateside, it was still filmed in the Philippines.
The Philippine set looked too vibrant. Like something
at the
was
beginning,
off.
when they were showing the jungle here at the very beginning of the movie, I was like, that doesn't look like the Vietnam I know from movies.
No,
it doesn't
looked
look
like a
real.
backyard.
Yeah, it looks like a set.
Looks like you're having a tiki party later with fucking rum-based cocktails.
They took just like a sound stage and they put some sand down and put in some fake plants and shit. That's what it looks like. I don't know.
They get a sign that says this is Vietnam. Oh, good. Okay, I was wondering.
This is a Looney Tunes movie.
Oh, I took a wrong turn in Cambodia. But this is the first of a five film contract he had with Canon. And each one paid him $1 million. So he made $5 million for making 5 movies for Canon, which really isn't too bad. We're talking mid-80s.
80s is great. That's great money for 80s. Now, that's a slap in the face.
What would the taxes be on that?
Oh, I don't know. You don't pay taxes in the Philippines.
It's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
I might be wrong. I don't know anything about the Philippines.
I know less.
I know that they have delicious food.
Lumpia.
Once again, my lack of information about overseas taxation has come to bite me in the ass.
Maybe you should study up on that.
I don't think so.
You know who you need to call?
Wesley Snipes.
Yeah. He'll let you know.
He'll let you on the floor.
When are we going to do a Wesley Snipes movie?
When he makes a bad one.
Beautiful man.
He's made a lot of bad movies.
How
Just because he's cool
dare
doesn't mean
you.
the movies are good.
No, I agree. Even
What's
like
that
White Men Can't
skydiving
Jump,
movie?
I recently
I just
watched
had
it.
that
I was
on
like,
my TV
wow,
yesterday.
this is not good.
What's that skydiving movie? Free Fall? Something?
Oh, I was going to say it had something to do with terminal velocity.
Terminal Velocity?
Terminal Velocity,
That sounds right.
yeah.
Wasn't he also like the passenger on the plane? Or
He was the
passenger-
57th.
He was the 57th of them.
Yeah. There was 56
Passenger
before him.
That was actually the 57th movie in a series called Passenger.
I didn't see the first 56.
I don't know how familiar. I know, well, if you're probably not familiar at all, but how familiar any of you guys are with Canon films
Way to
in
call
general.
me out.
Well, you like things that are good and or have boobs. Well, Canon films all have boobs.
I do. Yeah, this had a lot of unnecessary naked women.
You know what I love in movies is boobs. You know what I don't love in movies? Forced boobs.
Yeah.
Like a couple of prostitutes sitting with Emmett Walsh, just
Oh.
naked. Oh, don't go yet. I gotta cop a feel before we go.
You want to join me, baby?
There's room for a couple more hairy people, Mr. Norris.
Speaking of boobs, I watched that movie Death Magic. I think I've talked about it on here. That's made here in Tucson.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how this guy got all these girls to get naked, but like every girl in that movie is naked at some point.
Cocaine.
It's just like a community theater made movie here in Tucson, Arizona. That probably cost like $87.
What if they're still operating?
Methamphetamines.
These girls are just like, this is my big break. I gotta whip them out.
Yeah.
Probably.
know.
What year was it made?
1992.
Yeah, that
If
was.
somebody was making a movie
artistic.
in Tucson right now, I'd hang some dong for them.
There you go. We're making a movie later. You want to stay?
I'll hang some dong for you.
It's not gonna come out anywhere, but
Oh, it'll come out. It's not like the Gopher. Or sorry,
We can add it to our library.
this isn't like Punxsutawney Phil, man. It won't see its own shadow.
But Canon Films produced some movies that you guys have heard of, not just a bunch of cheesy shit like this. Although they are still cheesy shit, but they did Superman 4.
Oh, wow.
That not a good thing, but they did it. They did Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Barfly, Bloodsport, Cyborg, Kickboxer.
I'm glad it got better because the first two were big franchises, but you said the wrong numbers. Like Superman, let me finish, 4.
A Quest for Peace. Right? They also did Masters of the Universe. They did
Ooh.
Death Wish 2 through 5. So they've done a bunch of shit, just not all good shit. Oh, Breakin' 2. Breakin' and
Electric
Breakin' 2.
Boogaloo?
Yeah. There's actually a documentary about Canon films that I watched that was really interesting. I watched it like a year or so ago. It's literally called Electric Boogaloo, the story of Canon films.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. But they did a bunch of shit. They don't think they exist anymore. They might.
Probably just bought up by somebody else.
I know that some of the guys are still out there because Stallone was talking about how he talked to one of them when he was doing Rambo 4.
Mm-hmm.
Or, sorry, Rambo.
Yep. Get it right.
Period.
Because they didn't.
So anyway, this is this movie. They did get to make movies with Stallone eventually, though.
What'd they do?
Cobra and Over the Top.
Ooh, both. Well, I was gonna say both really good, both really fun movies.
Both enjoyable films.
Cobra's quick. I just watched that not too long ago. Like,
We just watched it the other night.
yeah, just rewatch. I mean, it goes by so fast, and Brigitte Nielsen's hot in that.
Did
Yeah.
we?
Yeah, the one where he is Stallone is fighting the cult.
Did I go to bed?
No, you were awake for the whole thing.
I have no recollection of any of this.
He never takes off his sunglasses or spits out that match he's got in his mouth.
I don't think
Until
I was
he
here
needs
for that.
to start a fire later, and then he doesn't have a match in his mouth. And he
Damn
has
it!
to pull out a book
The
of
one
matches.
time I
What the
need a
fuck is
fucking a mouth match.
that? Yeah, there's like
Oh,
the cult. It's got
that sounds
it's got
familiar.
that dude
Brian
Thompson,
something. Brian
Is that right?
Thompson.
the guy from
Lionheart?
Nightmare at Noon.
We watch a lot of stuff, so my brain just expels it away
That's
immediately
probably
now.
for the best.
I wish I had that capability. I wake up to these movies.
I used to not be able to watch a movie like a year later.
Yeah.
I'd be like, no, I've seen it. I don't want to watch it. Now it's just being married to this man. We watch a lot of movies. And so now my brain's like, and dump.
My roommate has an innate ability that she's like, no, I've never seen this movie. We put it on, start watching it. I'm like, we watched this together when it came out like 3 years ago or whatever it was. We're watching, and all of a sudden it gets like the last 20 minutes. She's like, oh, he's behind the dumpster. He's going to jump out and shoot him. I've seen this. Like, so that's what you remember is like the final fucking twist. Oh, he's actually the brother. I remember this now.
Well, that's
What
Walk
the
away.
fuck?
that's our daughter. We lived for somebody for 3 years, from age 4 to 7 for her. And she was absolutely in love with my roommate's at the time's daughter. And then out of nowhere, I was like, oh, you remember this person? She's like, never met him. Literally have never met them in my entire life. It was like,
So the way
okay.
you are
Not
with
true.
me in movies, that's how she is with you
With
and
life.
meeting people. You know so many people that if anybody knows you, they're meeting people constantly, and you're like, you remember this person? You do it to me all the time, and I'm like, yeah, sure.
That's true. You do know a lot of people.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've only lived in Tucson for 41 years.
Who's gonna do the quick summary? Do you want to do it?
No.
Okay. So here's my little quick summary of this movie. It's like Rambo 2, but not as good, and there's a dinner party.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The end.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of murder and money spent to rescue 4 people.
You know what else there's a lot of?
Just 4 people.
Really bad gun battles. Like, I mean, there are times where people are just almost as close as we are exchanging gunfire. Nobody's falling.
Nobody.
Dueling boats coming up at the end of this
Oh,
movie.
I
Like,
have something to say
I was
about that.
laughing my fucking ass off at dueling boats.
My favorite thing in this whole movie is, especially at the end sequence, when Norris has the M16 and he can't hit anything when he's holding it with 2 hands. But when they're running away and he's firing at one hand,
Can't
just
miss.
picks dudes off.
Can't
Left and
miss. Yeah, I feel like they ran out of extras that could die.
Probably.
Like, all right, we used them all up in the first scene.
You just reuse them.
The old double grenade jumping finisher move.
Look, we told you guys we'd give you 1.5 million. We'll give you another 0.05.
yeah.
Who can you hire?
That's that 2.55.
So this movie stars, as we mentioned, Mr.
Carlos.
Carlos Norris as Colonel James Braddock. And it also has the wonderful Emmett Walsh.
I remember at Walsh, you say.
Yeah.
Now he's younger in this, so the voice I'm doing is as much older Emmett Walsh, but I don't have a younger Emmett Walsh to knock out. So
Just a fat drunk.
yeah, named Jack.
What? Do you think he was a ginger when he was younger?
No,
he has
not
pretty
a
white hair.
chance. Not a chance.
And you know what he did right before this, which is weird that he stepped down to this, was he was in Blood Simple, Coen Brothers, one of their early movies.
I don't know it.
It's a wonderful movie. I just saw it in 35 millimeter over at the Loft recently.
So
We
it would
haven't
have been like
seen it
what,
before, but-
83?
82, I believe.
82, okay.
Yeah. It's a good one. I
Yeah.
mean, it's Coen Brothers. So.
I'll put that on the list.
He's also in Blade Runner,
Mm-hmm.
and he's in The Jerk.
Mm-hmm.
He's in a lot
Oh,
of
he's
stuff.
he's the sniper and the jerk that
Yeah.
hates cans.
But he's wonderful
He is.
as an old sloppy drunk. We also get a little bit of James Hong,
Mm-hmm.
one of my favorites.
This guy's been coming around my life recently like a lot. Nice snort.
Speaking of snorting, what was the movie that you knew him from?
Revenge of the Nerds, like 3. He played Snot.
Like, how is that on the edge of your brain? Just that information.
The age that I was, that's like the most prevalent in my head. When my
Yeah.
first introduction to him, that was my first introduction.
Now,
to
I
him.
got-
don't remember the character that well, but he was like 60 when that movie came out.
Yeah,
Is
well,
he
he
supposed
does
to
the
be
whole,
60 or is he supposed to be in college?
It could be both.
He's like Chevy Chase in Community.
He's
I
like,
know him as David Lopan
Yeah.
from Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, yeah.
And then I recently watched Golden Child,
Golden
and he's
Child.
in that. And then
Tango
all of a
and
sudden he
Cash.
popped up here, and I was like, man, this is 3 times in 1 week I'm seeing this dude, and I'm not unhappy about it.
He's also in Blade Runner.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Everything Everywhere All at Once. One of my
Was
favorite
he-
movies.
Was he in Friends or Beauty and the Beast?
Ooh, you know what? He almost has to be in Friends.
Has to, right?
Just by how long that went on and how he's just been such
I need to start checking for this stuff. I didn't look for that. He's got to be in one of those.
Somebody has to, because that's
Yeah.
been our like.
I feel like there weren't that many Asian Americans in Beauty and the Beast. I don't know why, but
We'll
I
get
just
there.
feel like that's a thing. We start the movie with explosions, which is
Oh yeah,
cool.
there's a movie here.
We're in quote unquote Vietnam, and trees are
first
blowing
we're
up
in
and
somebody's
stuff.
backyard, and then all of a sudden explosions.
That's what I said, quote unquote Vietnam.
So it's Wes Anderson doing a Vietnam set.
Oh man, I'd watch a Wes Anderson war movie.
I absolutely would. I mean, I kind of hope all the guns have that ridiculous stick with the bang symbol that come out, like, and then instead of it being a
love
squib,
those.
it would be like red yarn coming out of there.
When,
Like,
when someone's got a machine gun, it's just a whole series of little flags that keep coming out, and it just says rat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat-a until it like falls off.
how many entries do you think James Hong has on IMDb?
372.
It's got to be in the 300s.
It doesn't have to be.
Is it higher?
It could be 457.
Damn.
So yikes, dude's been working.
He's still working.
Is
They
he
just
still
came
alive?
out. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Get on
I mean,
you.
aside from just being in Everything Everywhere All at Once last year, he just did the Mogwai cartoon that's on HBO. That's supposed to be pretty good.
Oh, I didn't know that existed actually.
Yeah, it's like an origin Mogwai thing back in like the 20s or something,
Yeah.
and it's in Asia somewhere. So that way they're trying to justify the kind of troublesome Orientalism going on at the beginning of Gremlins there.
Wow.
But I've heard it's pretty good.
He is in one episode of Friends as Hoshi. Which, I mean, as a Friends watcher,
Yeah.
I don't know the character off the top of my head. So.
I'm going to say he was probably on a Monica episode about cooking.
Could be.
I literally watched, I mean, I've seen Friends here and there, but like 2-3 years ago, I was like, fuck it. And I just watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's the only time I've ever watched the whole thing all
And
the way
he loved
through.
it.
So
If
it's
you're
hard.
okay with some homophobicness and some fat shaming, it's all right. It's
you
fine.
watch it. You want to watch it in the time that it came out.
Yes.
right? I
Yeah,
mean,
put that lens on. Put that 90s
I did
lens.
see a thing recently. Someone was like, I'm going to do a super cut of Friends, and I'm going to cut out all the laugh tracks so that way people can watch it and realize how unfunny it is
I mean, I'm super,
when they're not telling you when to laugh.
I'm happy now there's less laugh tracks in movies. I know when things are funny. Don't
Yeah.
tell me.
It's, again, you just don't like being spoon-fed anything.
I don't.
Except from a girl and her feet.
Oh, is that wait, hold on. Is that an option?
Yes.
Hey, anybody out there that can hold a spoon or a fork between their toes,
I mean, I think most people can. Like, I can write with my toes.
can
That
you
is
put
fucking weird.
Can you put baby food on the spoon?
Yeah.
All right.
I was thinking, like, what do you put in the spoon? There's got to be something porridge.
Split pea soup.
I will serve you chili.
Ugh.
Chili might be the least sexy food.
No,
by the
split
way.
pea soup is the least sexy
But
food.
it's so fucking delicious. Put some ham hock in that bitch.
Trying to feed you soup, and it looks like you threw up all over yourself because it just keeps spilling.
Oh, there goes dinner tonight.
So there's explosions.
Oh, that's right. Movie.
And there's like a shootout, and the American soldiers are being pursued by these VC soldiers. Everybody is wearing their helmets and stuff like you're supposed to be, except for Chuck Norris and his glorious hair.
And one other person.
One other guy, because he's the only other guy with a line.
I don't think he had a line.
No, he falls down and he says some shit, and Chuck Norris is like, what does he say? Move it.
Move it.
There
Picks him up.
is an exchange here that I love so much where it's Chuck Norris behind a bush, sorry, Carlos behind a bush, and then his buddy next to him, and his buddy shoots VC, gives him a thumbs up, and then Chuck Norris gives him a thumbs up back, and then that guy gets blown out of the fucking picture. It is hilarious. I had to rewind it because I was like, did I just see that? Did that just happen? It happened, and it was glorious.
Well, one of his friends gets shot in the ass, and he picks him up, starts carrying him, and that's all either one of us could say. Was like, I
got
was shot in the buttocks.
Dude, this guy had like fucking. Oh, it's gross, but he's just got his first period and he didn't know what to do. So Chuck Norris just carried him through the jungle, man.
It jumped
did.
up and bit me. So then some choppers come in, and they're
Get to the
trying to
chopper.
save these guys. And I saw like 10, 15 soldiers, but like 80 chopters, 80
Hella
choppers
chopters.
show up, and they're taking out these guys like 5 at a time. And Chuck
None
Norris
of
is
them
still
are shooting,
behind.
though.
Yeah, nobody's even trying to shoot back. The choppers are. They have mounted guns that are trying to
VC
shoot.
are
but they
mowing
can't hit
people
anything.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no wonder we lost. We can't hit it. We employed a bunch of stormtroopers to go to fucking Vietnam.
Didn't you know stormtroopers are the most amazing shot in the world?
That's what I hear.
Or the universe?
That's what I hear.
I mean, no, only stormtroopers could hit targets this precise.
Yeah, exactly. That's what Obi-Wan says.
Cut to the Boba Fett movie or the Boba Fett show where the fucking sand people are taking out that fucking sand train with precision.
Tusken Raiders.
Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
We can't be perpetuating what racist old Obi-Wan used to call
Well, you know
them.
what? I think it's okay because my grandmother was half sand people.
Oh,
so
okay.
she, being from the desert and all.
I just love that it's like the old man is like, oh, those sand people.
Those
And then
sand
later on, they're
people.
like, oh, they're Tusken Raiders. But it's,
Well, I mean, that can't be the preferred nomenclature because there's Raiders in it. No one's like, oh no, we're not called that. We're called the Sand Killers,
Luke Sandkiller.
dude.
Well, that was the original name when
Starkiller.
when George Lucas was just writing a knockoff of Dune, and then he was like, I can't just do Dune.
Oh, so it was originally Sand Killer, then
No,
Star
I'm just
Killer?
being an asshole.
Oh man, you had me.
Because Star Wars is basically just Dune. I mean, they're talking about spice and
Yeah.
like all of this. They got the big fat guy who's the criminal, like the head criminal, and it's basically just Dune.
Yeah, it's just Dune better.
Well, I mean, Dune better than the original Dune, maybe.
Well, yeah.
That one was weird.
I like
David
it.
Lynch.
Yeah.
It's David Lynch being,
Lynchy.
having his balls cut off by the studio.
Yeah.
But either way, we'll probably do that too. I like it.
I'm gonna need a lot of spice for that one.
Have your berry essentials with you.
I will.
I do love there's a part where like this chopper is supposed to be lifting off with a bunch of soldiers, and the VC guys either throw a grenade or use their little grenade launcher or something and blow up this chopper.
Hole
But
in
like
one.
the chopper is flying up, and then when you show it blowing up, it's clearly just like a shell sitting on the ground. It's not even in the air.
1.5 million, Derek.
That's fair.
1.5 million.
They had to use different angles for multiple 'cause
Shots.
They did like 8. Like you're right, 80 choppers came
That's what
through.
it feels like. I mean, there's a lot of choppers. Norris finally gets one of the grenade launchers, or he takes out his grenade launcher and takes out some of these mounted gunners that the VC are using. So there's a little less resistance. Then him and his friends all get shot up by this one guy. And this is that part you're talking about, Jack, where like the VC guy comes up and just starts bayoneting these dudes, just stabbing them. And Chuck Norris is like, oh, I'm going to get this motherfucker. Pulls these 2 grenades off, pulls the pins out, dives, and then there's a large explosion. And then we cut to Chuck waking up in a hotel room.
Yep.
I don't think anybody making this movie knows how grenades work.
Yeah,
That's not how they work.
No,
well, I
it's
want
not.
it to hurt him, so it won't hurt me. It'll only hurt him.
I'll just face it towards him.
They
No.
just shove them in their mouths.
Well, and the best thing is
And,
like
like,
it's the
sure.
tower. It's the tower behind him that blows up. So like he jumped off with these grenades. So he jumped and threw them behind him and blew up the tower. Cool. That doesn't stop this guy from bayoneting your friends repeatedly.
well,
No.
maybe okay. Here's my thing. Like you said, threw him behind him, blows up the thing, and lands on that man that's bayoneting his buddies and just like bites his throat out.
It couldn't have been done stupider.
He just
There's
fucking
no.
Daltons him.
Why wouldn't you just pull the pins of the grenade and then drop them down?
Your friends are already dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And if they're not, they're going to be. I'm telling you now, if you see me with a belly full of bayonets, you can throw a grenade at me.
I'll do that for you.
Yeah.
I'll shake on that.
I'll take that, dead. That death. I'll take that, dead.
So when he's watching the news, and I pointed this out to Whitney while we were watching it, no one in this movie says prisoner of war or POW.
No,
Everything is missing in
MIA.
action or MIA. I was like, do they just not want to say POW because Rambo was doing that?
My dumb ass was like, man, this is basically a Rambo movie, but instead of POWs, what's he calling them? Oh, MIA, missing in action.
Yeah, which I mean is,
Like, I just,
you know,
I had
you
that
see
moment.
the hats and the shirts and the whatnot, and it's MIA, the
It's
flag.
Palmia, yeah.
It's MIA and POW because they're both. But in this case, you're trying to rescue people who are in camps, which would make them POWs,
Correct.
not MIA. MIA just means we don't know if they're dead or not.
I do believe at the very end, one of the high-ranking generals for the VC starts to say it before he's interrupted. He starts to
Oh,
say,
he
like,
maybe
there are
does.
no prisoners. Like, no, stop him at all
You
costs.
can't say that. Rambo says it.
We don't have the rights to it.
Speaking of having the rights, when he's sitting here watching this and he gets tired of the news because they're talking about him,
Yeah.
and so he switches it to fucking Spider-Man cartoon.
Oh, my God. I was
Right?
so happy to watch this. I was like, leave it.
Well, so the fun fact here, they were able to. They showed these clips, and I'm sure in the script it wasn't Chuck Norris watches Spider-Man cartoons.
Oh, really?
I don't know, but they were able to show it because they could do it without paying royalties because they had just acquired the rights to Spider-Man because they were supposed to make a Spider-Man movie.
We didn't see it. We only heard it.
No,
With
they
Chuck
do it. They do
Norris?
end up showing it too. Like you hear it at first, and he walks in the kitchen and gets another beer, and he comes out and he watches it from.
Oh,
it.
yeah,
So
no, you see it.
I didn't see it.
Yeah,
It's
'cause he
an
changes
episode where
the channel.
Shocker's escaping from jail.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Shocker
I
keeps
just
talking
heard
about
it.
his hyper shock or turbo shock or something.
He webs up this helicopter blade.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right. I
and
said
then-
semen. That's
and,
right.
Yeah, exactly. He jizzes up the helicopter blade, and then he jumps on the American flag, and it's like a whole thing. And that's
Hey.
when Chuck Norris is like, "Fuck this too," and changes it back to
Helicopters
the
are
other
sexy.
channel.
Helicopters are sexy. American flags are sexy. As our former president showed us, sometimes you got to get in a flag.
Sometimes.
Sometimes
I
you
will
just gotta
say
get in
this
it.
is how nerdy my awesome husband is.
Go on.
As he changes the channel, 2 words were spoken on the episode, and Derek goes, huh, Spider-Man. And then like a sentence later, it's, oh, Spider-Man.
Yeah, because it was like just something like
It
oh,
said
I'll
the
stop you,
villain.
Shocker. Or something.
Nerd.
But yeah, they were supposed to be making a Spider-Man movie directed also by Joseph Zito. That was going to be like a $20 million movie, like their biggest thing
Oh,
they've
wow.
made. But it obviously never came
That's
to
what bankrupted
fruition. That and a lot of things. I think the thing I was reading was saying the reason that they bailed on it was because Superman 4 was such a disaster.
Yeah. I mean, that soured a lot of people on superhero movies, I think. That Superman 4 was like, nope, we can't do them anymore. We had lightning in a bottle, and we let it out.
We had to wait for Tim Burton to come back and save it.
Yeah.
Did we?
Well, I mean, we also almost had Tim Burton, Nicolas Cage, Superman.
I mean, the
Ooh,
following year
what?
from this was RoboCop, which is kind of a superhero.
Kind of.
But yeah, Nicolas Cage was supposed to be in a Superman movie many
You can
times.
you can look up on the YouTube's screen test for the costume. A long-haired Nicolas Cage is wearing a, I don't even know, futuristically stylized Superman outfit, like no underwear over it, none of that like classic Christopher Reeves red and blue. It's like metallic almost.
Okay.
Very futuristic. I don't know if it would have been good, but I do know that there's a part of me that will never be whole without seeing Nicolas Cage be Superman.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a spoiler, but it doesn't really matter because the movie's terrible by all accounts. In that Flash movie with the multiverse and the whatnot,
I heard he made
we
a
get
cameo.
a Nicolas Cage cameo as Spider-Man in costume.
As Superman?
A Superman?
Sorry.
Okay, I was like,
Okay.
wait,
I
hold
got
on.
Spider-Man on the brain.
All right, so I can now, have my soul a little more whole.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like a blink and you miss it kind of cameo. Like there's a lot of them in there, but
Yeah.
it's definitely there. One of the customers at work told me about it, and I was like, "Oh, cool! I was gonna go watch it, but I guess I don't need to now." But now it's been like 2 months, and
There is a statute of limitations on spoilers.
this was like a week later. I was like, "Come on, guy."
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. Oh. My
Pineapple.
next note was just drunkard, but now I know what it was. Chuck Norris is a drunkard. He's just hanging out in his hotel room, slamming beers, being sad about how he can't go back and rescue these other soldiers.
Did anybody else get excited how old these beer cans were?
Oh,
they
Yes,
had
with
that.
the pull tab?
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
And it
was
made
the
that
first thing I
perfect little
said.
triangle in there. Oh, I
loved it.
wanted one of these beers so bad.
I love how he turns the TV off, though.
Oh, what's he do?
Oh, he fucking straight face kicks it.
Well, TVs don't have a
Full
face, but I
He
know
gave
what
it the
you
old Sparta kick.
Yes, the whole
mean. This
Sparta kick.
is Texas.
Yo, he kills this tube.
Yeah.
He murdered it.
Yeah, because there's 2 fucking channels. One of them's got a Spider-Man waving American flags, and the other one's got them talking about how Braddock's a fuck up.
Well, what
I
else?
think I'd watch myself be a fuck up.
Oh, yeah, and the next thing he does is he picks up the phone and says, I'll do it.
Move
Yeah,
it.
because he was supposed to come and do their
Sorry, I put too much on it. Move it.
Seriously, for 20 minutes, all you hear him say is, move it.
Well, I mean, they are
And then,
trying to escape from
I'll
VC.
do it.
So, I mean, he would just be yelling, move it. Hey,
That's only
stop
because you can't
stopping.
hear a
$1
thumbs
million,
up.
people.
Stop stopping. Start
1.1.
starting. Go. Move it. We get a couple flashbacks. Let's go through real quick. There's this next one where he's like a POW, and there's a bunch of them chained together, and Americans attack them.
Dude, the chain gang's going, and our troops are just launching mortars at them. And, like, you could easily hit these guys.
Yeah.
Well, clearly our guys are just better.
I mean, I would also, again, if ever on a chain gang for the VC, you can launch a mortar at me and
You
kill
can kill me.
That's okay.
Taking it off, boss.
I'm starting to think I just
Take it
want
off, Luke.
death. Wipe it off, boss.
Okay, Barbie.
So that's that. And then, well, one of the guys, so they're showing how evil this guy who ran this like chain gang was, this Vietnam soldier. This soldier named Vin, V-I-N-H, who's played by a guy named Ernie Ortega. And I was looking him up because I feel like I recognized him, but I didn't really find anything. Like, he seemed familiar, but it's probably just, it's one of those things where I was going through and he's like, one episode of this, one episode of that. So
you just got to find the right show.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Oh, I remember.
But he's basically leading like the group through, and one of the Vietnamese soldiers gets killed, and so he yells at the Americans. He's like, "One of you for one of me," and he shoots one of the soldiers.
I don't want to tell him how to be a bad guy, but I would say one of mine, two of yours.
Yeah,
yes, that's what I would do.
And then the next,
you are a bad guy.
The next clip we get, and that's kind of the end of the flashbacks, is Chuck Norris like tied up, and apparently they're trying to like make him admit his war crimes. That's what they claim later. And Ernie Ortega cuts his chest with his knife, and there's blood like running out of his pants and stuff.
Yeah.
And it looks like the blood running out and stuff is pretty cool. Like it's,
but there's no.
That's how it would go. She pointed out though later on, because Norris has his shirt off multiple times in this movie, not a single scar.
You think that you could see his scar under all that hair?
Well,
like,
Derek
really?
was like, they couldn't get the prosthetic to stick. That's why he was groomed, because they tried.
There's just a couple of patches of shaved Chuck. Man.
They tried to stick it on there. It just keeps peeling
He
off.
got so red and sunburnt, man. Got himself a little Chuck roast.
Yeah, he did.
So we meet this senator douchebag. I don't know I didn't get his name. I just kept writing senator douchebag.
I think that's what he would go by.
Yeah, he's a total asshole, and he's with this other woman, Ann Fitzgerald, who's like his correspondent
Liaison?
or something. Yeah, whatever. And they're going to Vietnam with Braddock to have this meeting about potentially finding MIAs.
Yeah.
POWs.
Well, and also I think the big thing is, yes, we want to know if we have MIAs over there. They are demanding restitution or some sort of punishment for Carlos, the war criminal.
Yeah.
And it's great because he's on trial for being a war criminal. And when they bring up all these witnesses that are being forced to say that he was a war
forced.
Yeah.
But we don't know that yet. All we see is Carlos get up and take his sunglasses off and stare these people in the eye. I'm like, you're looking guilty as fuck. Like, this is what a war criminal acts like, dude.
Yeah.
He's like, look at this, more Vietnamese for me to. Oh wait, no.
Can we bring back those sunglasses?
Oh my God, I had a love affair with these sunglasses,
Yes.
dude.
Like the faded aviator.
Yeah, the
like
faded
clear bottom.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
it. I want some.
I want some bad.
So this is where we meet James Hong. They're getting off the plane and they all meet, and like he tries to shake Chuck Norris's
Having
hand.
no part
Chuck
of it.
don't shake hands. I was waiting for a hand to come out of his beard and shake, but
There was one point where Chuck like grabs his glasses or something. He goes and he moves his hand, and Snot. What's his name again?
James Hong.
James
It's
Hong.
not. I'm sure that this guy with a storied career would be so happy to know that someone's referring to him as Snot.
He's again my first introduction to him that my brain remembers. But like Chuck goes to do something and he thinks he's sticking out his hand again, and he puts out his hand, and Chuck just puts his glasses on and walks away.
It's the equivalent of like,
Swoosh.
yeah, psych.
Yeah.
He gave him a psych.
Yeah, I loved
Hey,
it.
slap me a low five. Psych.
Psych.
and he does see Ernie, whatever I said his name was here, Ernie Ortega.
Ortega, yep.
Looking at him, like they're making eye contact, and like Ortega clearly recognizes Norris.
Didn't I try and shave you once?
I know the things I did to you.
I never forget body hair.
And so they're in this meeting, and James Hong is like, "Hey, we know you only brought Braddock to like embarrass our government," and Senator Douchebag is like, "We would never do that."
No, we're America.
And that's when Hong is accusing Braddock of war crimes and like all these evil things that he did and whatever. And
Our senator's not backing up our own guy.
No,
yeah,
not at
no,
all.
and that's why I call him Senator Douchebag, 'cause he's a total fucking twat to Chuck Norris this whole time.
I mean, the definition of a twatty bureaucrat, I would say.
Yeah. And this is when you have the people come in who all like signed affidavits saying that Chuck Norris, killed women and children in their villages and old men and all this stuff. And
Because only one man did that. Not the country.
No.
Not the thousands of people that were killed over there. One man.
Yeah.
well, and women and children and old men were killed, but they were also soldiers,
Yeah.
which makes it harder to that was one of the big things of
That was
Vietnam,
a
right?
sticky
It makes
part
it
of
hard to
Vietnam.
differentiate things. Same thing as all the stuff that's been going on in the Middle East for the last 30 years or however long we've been
Our
over there
life?
now.
Jesus.
It was 20 some odd years before we pulled soldiers out, and now we just left,
Worst
military
pullout
contractors.
ever.
I don't know. Have you met Patrick?
But
Oh,
how does he park? The dude is unaware of how to pull out.
He just keeps going forward.
I'll just stay here.
I do like Norris has a cool little line here where James Hong is like, wasn't there a price of like 5,000 on your head? And he goes, actually, it was more like 20,000. He's like, for war crimes? He goes, no, for killing assholes like you.
And you're putting a little more sauce on it than him, but it is
Sorry.
a cool line.
For killing assholes like you.
Boom.
You still had more infliction than him.
No, that's a print. That's it. That's it right there.
Cut it, print it. This movie just made an extra $3 million.
This is the best we're like the director. Like this is the best we're getting from Carlos, dude. Wrap it up. All right.
But he does look at the last guy in the lineup of the people that were brought in, and the older man looks down and he just goes, in his native tongue, he goes, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Because these people, he was actually helping these people trying to
Oh
get
no,
out
I think
of
it was because Chuck Norris stared him down. And he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." No, you're right. I'm
He
being.
doesn't even know Chuck Norris. He's never seen him before in his life. He's like, I'm sorry, sir.
Oh God! Look at his chest hair's looking right at me.
But yeah, and then Chuck again repeats it in Tagalog or not Tagalog,
That
Vietnamese.
would be in the Philippines.
Yeah,
Yeah.
'cause
You're
And-
being set appropriate.
I am being set appropriate. But he says back in Vietnamese, it's okay. I
know.
understand.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Well,
And we
'cause
get
these
the
people are
homegirl.
clearly going to be like murdered by their government if
Yeah.
they don't say this.
Oh,
And
this
who's to
guy's
say
getting
they
murdered for
didn't
saying
get
sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they
100%.
murdered these people after this fucking trial thing.
So let me go to this dinner party, which I'm like, this movie's so much different from Rambo, like Rambo 2. He's just, in the Rambo 2, he's just running through the fucking jungle, murdering people.
Yep.
In this movie, he's doing dinner parties and hanging out in hotel
But now
rooms.
we get to see why Carlos is one of us, right?
Yeah.
He goes in and then we got one of the bartenders like, offer you a cocktail, some champagne, beer. And he gets him a beer.
Denies the glass.
Denies the
Tough
fucking
guys
glass.
don't use beer glasses. Let me drink out of
As
this
you're
beer
drinking out of a
glass real quick.
stemmed beer glass, a tulip.
Oh, I do remember there's one part where the shitty bureaucrat was like, look at the way he's even dressed. And Carlos is like, who am I supposed to
Oh, that was on the
impress?
plane there. Is great. Yeah, the douchebag's talking to his liaison or whatever this female is to him. Yeah, and that was a great response from Carlos walking by.
Yeah.
I was like, who am I supposed to impress?
Fuck this place.
Yeah.
So they end up going back. Like, talks a little shit with James Hong, and there's clearly like a cut line here because they're like talking to each other, and then it just cuts to Norris being outside, and she's like, "You're a terrible diplomat or whatever," and he's like, "Oh, why am I trying to do? I'm not trying to run for office." And I'm like, "What? Why? What line was cut?" Like
Yeah.
James Hong says some shit, and then we just cut to outside.
And also, a better line would have been like, "You're a terrible politician." I
Yeah.
take that as a compliment.
I don't want to run for office.
We did find it in
Gotta run
the special
for
features,
the
though.
office.
The guy says that he says something very derogatory.
Oh, the
towards
thing that you
Hong.
didn't watch.
Yeah, the thing I didn't watch.
Was I awake for that?
I heard that part.
Yeah, there was something he said that was supposed to be like a derogatory line, and they cut it out. And then it's
Which I'm glad they cut something from this movie because it's an hour 40 plus and it feels
Yeah.
longer. And I'll
I
tell
thought it
you,
was- yeah,
you
too.
want to trim this down. There are a lot of really weird shots, like just to fast forward where Ortega later, he's like, no, I'll follow him. You go back. And the guy that he talks to just looks like off in the distance, like, huh?
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like 5 seconds of each of these shots could be cut. And
Well, it
you
needs
don't
better.
need
It
them.
needs better, tighter editing,
Yes.
and you could make it slightly more exciting. Because we get like the opening action scene, and we get a little bit of action here and there, but generally speaking, it's like, again, it's kind of like Rambo 3 in this case, where we don't really get action until we're almost an hour into the fucking movie.
I'm kind of confused by this movie because I don't like it. Spoiler. I don't like it, and I should on paper.
We
Yeah.
should
It's
like
It's a quick-ish action movie.
Well, and that's
with
why
Chuck Norris.
I bought this box set sight unseen because I
Yeah.
was like, whatever, that's gonna be cool. Now I'm like, fuck, there's 2 more of these.
This is a weak action movie. I
It
mean,
is.
maybe, and we rightfully should, are comparing this to Rambo, and Rambo blows us out of the water. Pun
Yeah.
intended.
Definitely.
Like, it blows it out of the water.
There's one scene I would cut at least 5 minutes from, and that's the dueling boats.
Dueling boats. You could easily cut this down. It is like an Austin Powers moment of two people just like,
Oh,
I'm
you're
like,
talking
he
about at
should
the
be
end
there
when
by
that
now.
patrol boat's approaching
Yes.
for 40 minutes?
Yes.
It just keeps kind of the same shot of this patrol boat like 300 feet away.
We'll
Yeah.
get to
Do you
that.
think the
but
editor was just
fuck.
high and was like, "Oh, I still need to add the dueling boat part"?
I
Well,
am sick
fucking
and tired.
The guy that runs Arnhem Zola or whatever the guy's name is that runs Canon was like, look, we need to get these other scenes in there. Just keep cutting back to that.
I think his name was Big Ziti, and you know it.
No, that's the director.
Oh, damn it.
Something Globus, Arflis Globus.
Artemis
I don't know.
Globus.
That's not a real name.
Hold on, I'm gonna internet this and
We're holding.
I am
Canon
sick and
Films.
tired, though, of people blaming marijuana for a poor job, okay?
You're right. I should not blame marijuana. He was getting a blowjob and wasn't sure if he put it in yet or not. He
Wait.
closed his eyes.
What did he not know he was putting in? You can't say he was getting a blowjob and he wasn't sure if he's putting it in.
The editing part. If he had enough of the boat scene.
So the guys who owned Canon during this time when they produced all the best movies,
Hank
honestly,
Scorpio.
Menahem Golan and Yoram Globus.
Yes.
So
Okay.
you'll see Golan Globus Productions at the beginning of the movie and stuff because it's Canon, but they're also the producers. So
I feel like they make propaganda movie in the New World after the revolution.
I'm agree with you.
I couldn't tell you what their nationalities are, but clearly it's something European.
Yeah.
Maybe like
Armenian.
yeah, something like that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But so the girl here, Anne
They're
Fitzgerald,
future villains for Carlos Norris in another movie, I'm sure.
Anne Fitzgerald here invites Chuck Norris over to her hotel room for a nightcap, and there's these guys
This
like watching him to make sure he doesn't leave his
whole
hotel.
thing was so weird.
Yes.
I mean,
because-
it made so the reason he went over there and stuff ended up making sense. But again, like,
Yes.
why are you like? I want to go sneak. I just want to see what. So, well, real quick, he goes back to her room. And
She
he
answers
starts
the door in a
stripping.
slip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She changes clothes 3 times.
Which
in
it's
this
so
scene.
it's so weird though for you to answer the door in what would be 80s kind of risque
lingerie.
lingerie. Like it's not lingerie quite, but it's nightwear.
I think it's what she was wearing under her clothes.
Right, it's a slip.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But so she answers the door in that and he starts stripping and like
Well, I think it was her playing modest because she was trying to be seductive. She wants to fuck Carlos, but he just went straight to stripping down, and she's like, "Well, I never."
well, Mr. Bo-.
Yeah.
You couldn't even tell this guy was wearing a bikini. I mean, his one tone of hair and bikini. This is where I thought of Ben. Right here. I was like, oh man, I miss Ben.
But he's just stripping down so he can put on his like Black Ops gear. This entire black outfit that he wears to sneak down the side of this very brightly
It's
lit
white.
white building.
He would be
Building.
better off in just that bikini briefs he was wearing, sir.
He'll just be like, "There's some like weird algae on the walls. Is this red fuzz?"
I think there's spider webs in the corner of this hotel.
But yeah, there's these guys watching him to make sure he doesn't leave the hotel. So he goes to her room, changes to the black gear for some sneaky sneak, and that's what he does. He sneaks out, and he's like, I just want to see how Saigon's changed.
You want to
Yeah.
know how you cut another like
It's been 7
3
years.
to 4 minutes off this movie? You just have him scale the building down. He does this like up, over, and across. There's a party that hears like that. He hears a party going on, so he goes under and then he comes back
Dude,
up
I
right there.
love that.
It was
He
so
climbs
Why did he
off
go
the
back
balcony.
up?
He climbs off the balcony, pulls himself across with his hands, and then climbs back onto the balcony on the other side of the window.
It's wasted time.
Step across.
Yeah.
They're not going to see you. Their
No.
blinds are closed. But it's all, I mean, I think this is really Chuck Norris scaling down this building, which I think is why they left it, because they're
Yeah.
like, look how, like, manly he
Okay.
is and stuff. But it is very long, and it's even longer when he's going back.
Mm-hmm. You need one or the other. We get it that Carlos actually did this. That's
Yeah.
fine.
You don't have to show all of 25 minutes of it.
No.
No, it was ridiculous. It was honestly 7 minutes long.
Yeah, we could have taken that down.
We could have taken 5 minutes off of that.
Just one direction was 7 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then the other direction.
14-minute round trip.
Also, you telling me he
God.
wouldn't just jump the second floor?
I do like though once he starts, once he gets to the is it embassy? I think he's at.
It's wherever Hong is
president
living.
sleeps.
Yeah, some sort of gated community. Because so this Jeep for the VC, drops one of their soldiers off and picks another one up, changing a guard. And then it drives 5 feet.
To drop off another guard.
That's what I thought. I was like, are we just dropping off every 5 fucking feet, just a fresh fucking century? But then, we see Chuck Norris 5 feet away take this guy out silently.
Dude, he kicks this guy in the balls. And,
which wouldn't be
chokes him
silent.
out. No.
Sorry.
No, these guys are so quiet being taken out. I'd be like, "Bah!"
Oh, yeah. I would make every fucking noise. Guys, look over here.
He's kicking everybody in this. Like, every guy he takes out, quote unquote, silently, he just kicks him in the knee or kicks him in the shin. Like, that hurts.
Yeah.
You're going to make us an exclamation of some sort.
Of some sorts. Absolutely you are.
So he, like Assassin's Creed, sneaks his way through this thing, right? Because he's like jumping out of the bushes and pulling a guy back into it and like hiding the bodies so that the thing doesn't turn red. And he ends up getting in, and James Hong is sleeping in this like princess bed.
Yes, that's exactly what I thought. I was like, is this Princess Jasmine's
He
bed?
pulls back his unicorn sheets. He's got his My Little Pony pajamas on with his
These
feetsies.
pink silk sheets with like and he's got the thing hanging around like the
netting is necessary because
well,
of all the
that's what I was
gonna
say, but it's not netting; it's open. It's like it's just like the sheer like for decoration.
I know what you're talking about, and it would be necessary. But what they did is very much like you said, a princess bed.
Yeah,
like
it's
this
the
is
canopy
that,
bed that we had in the spare room last year.
Basically, so he holds his hand
Wait,
over.
Are you harboring VC royalty in your back room? Is there a high-ranking jet? Oh, I'll keep it down. Don't let anyone know.
You're gonna get a Steven Seagal. We're gonna have to move to Russia.
This part,
Oh God, no!
this part right here made no fucking sense to me. So he covers his eyes and then proceeds to not even whisper, just talk like this. I'm like, he knows who the fuck you are.
But you can't prove it in a court of law, man.
I guess that's fair.
Did you notice how big his Adam's apple was? Like when
James Hong,
James Hong, when he had, like, he's pulling his like
How big
forehead
was
back.
it?
Dude, I was nervous for this thing with Chuck Norris's knife, like just on set.
He's just talking and it just sliced because
That's what I was worried for. I was like, oh my God, that thing's huge. It's gonna blow up on its own. There's too much pressure in this man's throat.
he ends up questioning him, trying to find out where the MIAs are, and Hong eventually gives it up. I only wrote it down because it's funny, even though I know it's just the way things are named, but they're in a place called Dong Hai.
Yeah.
Like, Dong is fine, but Dong Hai,
Dong high.
come on.
It's
Come on.
only 8 clicks away.
Keep it on the dong low.
As he's trying to sneak out, he like flips Hong over on his face and he's like, don't move. And he tries to sneak out, and of course Hong pulls a gun out from under his pillow.
You're an idiot, by the way, Carlos. Like, this
Yeah.
guy doesn't have it. If it's not in the pillow, it's in the nightstand. You open a
Yeah.
freaking drawer and you got a gun.
Is there a gun in there?
I'm not telling you.
And he pulls the gun and he fires at Chuck Norris, and Chuck Norris fucking throws a knife through him, so now he's dead.
Yep.
And now all the soldiers are alerted. The map has turned red.
Mm-hmm. If
gotta
you're
get
playing
away.
Skyrim, that eyeball's open.
Yeah.
They know
Yep.
you're there, Carlos.
You got to go and hide in a haystack for like 40 seconds, and then nobody can find you.
Just comes out whistling.
And then we get to watch him scale the fucking walls again.
And he doesn't
I was
scale his
missing it.
hotel. He scales the one next door, and then like climbs the cable across.
He takes one of those cables out, by the way. One of the
yeah,
cables
one of these
fall.
hotel floors at
shows
least
the
is out of
sparks.
power.
And there are sparks coming. I'm like, this guard down below, you know when sparks are happening behind
you're
you.
like, what the
You hear it, you feel it, you know it. And this guy's
Smell
just do.
And while he's trying to sneak back in, Ernie Reyes, or not Ernie Reyes,
Ortega.
Ernie Ortega shows up with all his people, and they're like, oh, we got to go up there and make sure Chuck Norris is up there. But they like talk about it for a long time. They're giving him plenty of time to get back. Like,
So
if they
not
would've
only
just
get
went
back,
in,
get out of his stuff into those
Yeah.
beautiful little boxer briefs, and somehow in one motion, while jumping in bed, rip off her slip.
Her
Yeah.
third outfit.
And
This is a
and
black
she's
night
now in a
exposed
black nightie.
breastises.
Yeah, so this is her third outfit in the last 20 minutes. And yeah, he rips her tits out and shoves her in the bed, and she's like,
She
"Excuse
smacks him.
me?"
The actress had a face. I mean, maybe she's just a good actress, but she looked like she was not ready for her nerves to be out. Like, oh, we didn't discuss this.
I think you're right, though. I don't
That's
think it
where
was
the extra
discussed.
0.05 million came in. She's like, "Look, I need a bonus, guys."
Look, you showed my tease.
What is
I'm gonna need.
0.05 million? 50,000?
You do the math. I'm not
I
doing
don't
that.
wanna.
I don't want to.
All right.
I didn't get on this podcast to be your fucking calculator.
And just in the nick of time, they get into the bed, and Ernie Ortega comes in. He's like, "Oh, I suppose he's been here with you all night." And she's like, "I suppose he has," or something.
Yeah, like very not selling it.
yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, he's like, "That's very convenient." And she's like, "It is convenient,
Yeah.
isn't it?"
Now get out of here unless you want to thrust him into me.
It's all in the head.
Just easing the tension, baby.
He's on someone else.
Ease it into somebody else.
So he has to leave Vietnam or he's going to be murdered. So he decides to go to Bangkok to look up an old army buddy. And these Vietnamese like CIA dudes are following him.
She does kiss him though. Goodbye at the airport.
Yeah.
She gives
She
him
wants
a...
it.
I'm going to be a little crass right here. Her boobs looked really good, by the way.
They did.
Like nice big boobs. And then I think the rest of this movie, they're taping them down.
I think so.
Because every other outfit, I'm like, where'd those things go?
It's because she's wearing the blouse that's like tucked in and just like plotched up. So
Yeah.
it just makes a...
You got to watch out for a plotched up blouse.
It's because she was trying not to be sexual.
I'm going to get so plotched up tonight.
Yeah, you are. Well, isn't that what you did last night when you watched this?
Same thing we do every night, Pinky.
Try and plotch up the world.
Try to drink until bad movies are good. Doctor told me to cut down on bad movies. Fucking up my liver.
You should drink a little less. Well, I can't. I have to watch these movies.
Less than what?
Between your job and your side job, like,
Man,
you got to know what shit tastes like, right?
it's true.
I know what shit tastes like. I'm drinking a Coors Light right now.
Hey, it's better than Miller High Life.
No,
it's not.
it is not.
Write us at Bad Movies Worst People and tell us what you think it is.
Yes, you know what? Send in. We're doing a survey. You can do it on Twitter with hashtag High Life is better or hashtag Coors Light is better.
Let's do it, baby.
It's the champagne with bullets.
So there's like he's in Thailand and he's trying to look around for his friend and he goes to this like bar and there's like this street dance party. I don't know what the fuck's going on. There's a sign
Karaoke.
that says
It's a disco.
There's a sign that says disco, but it's just playing this like generic 80s like breakdance music, which I'm sure they had
People
left
aren't-
over from breaking.
It's like, what do we have in the catalog?
No one's really dancing. I mean, there's like these 3 kids that are like probably 12 that are dancing, and everybody else
Yeah.
is just standing around. There is a guy who offers him a prostitute. I only note this because it was hilarious. He's like, "Hey, $10, totally cheap." Chuck Norris just takes off his I think he has sunglasses on. He takes them off and he just stares at this
Stares
dude
him down.
until this guy just walks away silently.
Yep.
Okay, no prostitute.
Yeah, you know what? Chuck Norris could stare me away.
Yep.
He still has only had like 20 words and we're
Oh, I wish you would have looked at this
40
guy.
minutes
He's
in?
trying to be Rambo.
Hey, do you want a prostitute? Move it.
Oh, wait. So is that a yes?
He's pointing at his penis. Move it.
When he asks where his friend is, the guy directs him to another like a whorehouse.
He'll
and
be
this,
at
and
Madame
this random
Pearl's or
dude just
something.
comes up and plops this naked girl down on the bar.
Yep.
This is where I don't like forced boobies because none of these actresses or characters are here for it.
They're just, I mean, this is supposed to be a whorehouse or whatever.
Yeah, they're playing prostitutes. So
I know, but they don't. It just looks like forced labor.
yeah, I mean to
It
be fair, at
probably
this point in
is.
time, a lot of these actresses have probably spent most of their acting careers being topless
Oh yeah,
because they've been mostly doing Vietnam movies and things
Are
like
you
that.
a sake
so.
sake?
and I cannot remember.
Exactly.
She's doing one of the girls there is doing karaoke to an American song, and
Oh,
it
I have
escapes
that
me
written
right
down
now.
somewhere, but it's great. What song is she doing? But I
Nope, not that.
can't
No.
remember, but it's great because she is just so bad, and it is so funny.
It is painful but funny.
So he tries to go to this other bar or this other whorehouse. It looks like the same place.
He
And
just
the-
goes out. He comes right back in.
He gets back in the cab, and the cabbie tries to kill him. And so they have this little like battle in the car, and the car is just smashing through this alley. People diving out of the way.
If you look at some of these extras, they don't know there's cars coming. It looks like, or again, could be tremendous
It's
acting.
like that dude in Bad Boys that didn't expect that truck to be coming over the
going
bridge.
down the fucking jog path. I mean, like, there's times where these people look at this car, like they mean mug it, like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah, 100%.
This is what. Hey, I'm walking here.
Dude, when he gets out of the car and walks away, some other couple just gets in and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna go to this Samsung hotel." or
Okay,
whatever they say.
now we're talking about a gag that need a little bit more time.
Yeah,
Because they get in like, to the blah, blah, blah. Like, no. We need to really sell this. Like, God, what a shitty cab driver. Yeah. Hey, pal, there goes your tip if you don't listen.
He's dead.
He's dead. He's dead. He's taking a long nap.
he might not be dead.
Oh, he's taking a forever nap.
Yeah, I think he's killed many of people. I think that's what he was doing, was silently killing all of these people.
Well, because they
Sometimes, yeah.
do show
Just
one of the
further
guys.
proving his war
Well, they show
crimes.
one of the guys he took out going into the James Hong's little palace there, that he threw him in the bush, whatever. They cut back to him for a split second, and he's like moving around.
So it's purposely showing like Chuck's not killing needlessly.
Yeah.
He'll kill.
Okay.
His plan wasn't to go in there and kill anybody. His plan was to go in, find out where the soldiers are, and go out.
That's true.
Because then
James
it
Hong
would
made him kill.
Because if he is killing, indiscriminately like that, now he is a war criminal. You are everything that they said you were, because you're going to this consulate or embassy or whatever it is and just fucking destroying, people.
We finally meet Emmett Walsh.
Oh.
And he's getting kicked out of this place.
I like to call him
presumably for
Mehmet.
not paying. I don't know.
He gets thrown off a
Thrown
railing.
off the second floor,
Yeah.
and then this dude is trying to fight him, and like he knows Chuck Norris is there and can help him, but he's like trying to ask him if he can rent his boat, and he's like, "Yeah,
for
$5,000."
I thought he started $7,
Was it
something like that.
$7?
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
And then they're basically fight haggling. Like he's letting Emmett Walsh get the shit kicked
Every
out of him.
punch is like $1 million off. He's like,
Yeah.
all right, we'll start at $5 million from my
And
boat.
he gets down to 2,000, and Chuck Norris hits the guy, and the guy starts coming back. He's like, "Did you say 1,000?" And he's like, "No, I didn't." And then he ends up knocking the dude out. He's like, "Okay, 1,000."
1,000.
It's kind of funny. He's like, "Hey, by the way, it doesn't matter because you fucking owe me." So clearly, this is a guy that he saved or something. I'm sure
Yeah.
that's in the second movie that was supposed to be first. And he basically wants to rent his boat, and he wants him to help him get a bunch of munitions. He's got like C4 and M16s and all this stuff.
He
and
gives him a
fucking
laundry list.
Assault raft.
Yeah.
which is awesome.
It's a beefed up Zodiac.
Dude,
that
this
what it
thing
is?
is
Yeah,
dope.
like we've seen Zodiac is what like the Navy SEALs used, and it's just like it's a raft with the points at the end kind of
Yeah.
thing. This is a fucking steroid version of that.
And it's like bulletproof, and it has like a mounted 50 cal on it.
It's got
Yes.
two little shark faces on the front.
Little
But
shark
this
faces.
guy that sells it to him might be the worst arms dealer in the history of arms dealing, because he gets up there. I don't even remember the number. Let's just say
He's
like
20,000.
20,000.
Just the
20,000.
boat.
20,000. And what's Carlos do? He
Points
loads the
fucking
fucking
gun at him, yeah.
gun.
I know.
And he's like, how much? Why would you leave live ammunition next to this? You
Well,
fucking
and the best part
moron?
is he's like, "Yeah, I've got all these weapons for you. Oh, you want the raft? I have the only one that in Southeast Asia that's operable. I'll sell it to you for 20,000, and then I'll give you all the other stuff for free.
Yeah.
Well, you have the only boat. Why are you throwing stuff in?"
Yeah.
But yeah, he ends up getting it for 10,000 because he haggles at gunpoint. He likes to haggle with people by using their lives as collateral.
That's what I would do.
I wouldn't be there.
Then they end up finding a guy who has a copter. Jesus fuck.
A helicopter.
That's just what it's called now, copter.
A chopper that can be like their backup support, whatever.
It's
oh,
a
and he said,
helicopter.
the guy's kind of like a Russian or Ukraine, or he's got an
Yeah.
accent.
Probably
and he
Russian
says,
since it's Vietnam.
Chuck
and-
Norris says something like, are you going to get me somebody trustworthy? Or something like that. He's
Yeah.
like, look around. Everyone's trustworthy for the right price.
Yeah.
It's which
Which
makes
means
me,
they're not
Yeah, which makes me
trustworthy.
very nervous that somebody's going to be like, what did he pay you to fly him? $5 million. Here's $6 million. Don't fly him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of.
Although at the rate we're going, you'd be like, "What did we pay you to fly him?" Well, $147.
Well, he stared me down and I owe him. I actually paid him $500 to pick him up.
So we have Norris goes into his little like hotel room that he's waiting in for the night or whatever, and this fucking dude just bursts out of this closet and
I
tries to
laughed.
kill him.
This is like a little closet assassin.
Yeah, this is exactly what I have written down: closet assassin.
We were both like, "Oh, shiza."
The Lion, the Witch, and the VC over here.
Yeah, this dude pops out of Narnia with a knife and he's trying to kill him. And it's a pretty like decent little like struggle
Back and forth, yeah.
Yeah, and and Chuck throws him out the fucking window, and it's a stuntman flying out this window, not a dummy.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing fake. Like he throws this dude out of a window, and the guy lands on like a fruit cart.
It was awesome.
And Chuck just stares out the window.
And across the way, we've got Ernie Ortega and this other fucking Vietnamese CIA guy, and he's got a fucking grenade launcher just pointed at him, and Chuck has time to run out of the room. The top floor of this hotel is obliterated,
Decimated.
in this explosion.
And what's great is, because now we know they know Chuck lives, and Ortega's like, next time I'll do it myself. It's like, no, he did a great fucking job. He took out all those buildings, like,
Yeah.
or all those
But he
rooms.
That's the
Took
biggest,
too long.
That's the biggest thing I'll give this movie is there's a lot of explosions, and they're fucking cool.
Oh, they're great. I was not actually doing it, but it's standing ovation in my mind
Yeah.
every time.
So they blew up that building, and it was awesome. And then we see
all
like
the women and children are dead.
that's what I was gonna say. So it's showing Chuck Norris looking
Somebody
at the
think of the children.
Chuck Norris is looking at the mayhem, and it's like, well, who's the real war criminal here is kind of what they were doing, right? Because like this kid is dead, and his parents are crying and carrying him out. There's some dude rolling around on the ground, holding his face, and blood's just coming out from between his fingers. He's bleeding his face everywhere. Crying tears of blood like a Jesus statue.
Oh, God. That's like the worst Jesus statue. At least the other one's up on a cross looking fit as hell.
Would you want to come back and see people wearing you around their neck at your worst moment?
You betcha. But I'm a self-loathing narcissist.
At the moment of death.
So you are the Jesus.
I am the Jesus.
People are just wearing a necklace of an exploding car because that's how you died.
Right?
Oh, mine would be just...
I'm blowing you know!
Mine would just be a fat guy in a recliner with a can of cold soup watching internet porn. Is that what you want, guys? You want to put that in a necklace?
Oh. So Chuck decides it's time to move the timetable up, right? So he goes to get Emmett Walsh, who's at this whorehouse with these two prostitutes. These two young naked women.
Hour. It's only been 30 minutes.
We're leaving early.
He's like, I need my other $1.50 back.
I paid $1.50 for a whole night.
When you talk like that, you remind me of the whistling old man from Family Guy.
Where's the muscly boy? Now, like I said, I'm doing an older Emmett Walsh, and
I know,
this is
I'm trying
younger.
to think of his voice in this movie right now. He's just like, just fat drunk.
Is that right? Taking my ball.
There is a drive-by, like straight up Compton style. They're heading to the docks, and these Vietnamese CIA guys drive by and are just fucking lighting them up.
Ring ding dong, ring ding 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 dong.
Keep them heads ringing.
So Chuck Norris jumps into this truck, the Chuck truck.
The Chuck
Truck Norris.
Ooh, Truck Norris.
Oh, speaking of Truck Norris, we just watched a movie called The
Transformers?
Fist Way.
Oh, Danny McBride?
Danny
Yes.
McBride's first movie.
That's a
And
very
Jody
early.
Hill?
Yeah. Jody Hill was the director, and he played the blonde Taekwondo kid. It was actually pretty entertaining.
I've seen it maybe twice, and it was very early of its release.
Well,
so
it's the first one they did together. Like, they're best friends. They went to school together.
Well,
And they wrote it.
I bring it up because it's definitely like a coming attraction. Like,
Okay.
It's bad. It's fun, and it's actually pretty decent to watch, but it's not
it's Danny
good.
McBride.
It's McBride doing McBridey thing.
Yeah.
But barely. Like, he's just figuring out who Danny McBride is.
He's
Like,
not the righteous gemstones that we're seeing
No.
now, where he's dialed in on that.
not this is the end Danny McBride.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Can we please have a McBride on that episode?
I think we have to. Yeah.
We have to.
we've got enough of them.
Be against
They're
the
all
law.
floating around. And there's a guy in there called Chuck the Truck or something, which is why I said Truck Norris.
All right.
But, he gets in this big like covered truck, and these cars are chasing him, so it's like a truck versus car battle. And dude,
the truck should win. I mean, like, I never like it when they let this car get in to the side of him. Like, just you ram him off the road.
well, and that's
right
what
now.
he does. He fucking like pit maneuvers this one car into like a bunch of boxes, and then he backs the truck up and just knocks the car into the fucking water.
So
Like,
he's using his truck correctly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good job,
And
Truck
then
Norris.
this other guy is alongside him, and they're kind of shooting at him, and he's trying to like push them off. And I don't understand. One guy does get in the back of the truck. I have to bring this up because he brake checks this dude.
Oh, the best way to handle this, I was like, man, you let this guy get on your truck. Oh, thank God you did.
Yeah,
Because
he
this was excellent.
brake check. This dude tumbles forward and hits the fucking front, and then he just gasses it, and this dude goes rolling out the back.
Yahoo!
And Mehmet is like driving his boat down the side of this road, trying to Chuck is trying to.
Oh, and this beauty of a
him.
boat, because it looks very similar to the one that Rambo's doing in 4.
Yeah, it's like a pontoon boat kind of
But
thing.
he even says like, looks can be deceiving, and he
Look
shows him
under this
a mounted
jacket.
machine gun.
Oh, well, there's
Look at
definitely
these twin
a
diesel turbo engines.
Millennium Falcon moment, right? Because he's like, it's the fastest boat on the river,
the
and he gets
fastest
there and
bucket
he's
of
like,
boats.
that piece of shit. Like,
That floating bucket of bolts.
This
it's just
one
an
part,
RV
though-
with wings on it.
She
like-
did the Thailand running on 12 parsecs.
So this one part. So I don't know how long this fucking dock is, but the way they shot it, it makes it look like it's at least 5 miles long. And so the little Buick's trying to like slam into him, and he's like, "Fuck you!" Bam, slams into him, and then Chuck Norris's like making it to where he's gonna jump off the side, and then both cars just go in. Like, what is the driver of the Buick not paying attention to?
I think the driver was just busy looking at the truck, trying to shoot Chuck Norris, not thinking about it.
He was captivated by all that chest hair. He's like, God, look at that thing.
Chuck Norris dives out into the water,
Yeah.
and there's both the truck and this car just leap off the end of this dock and into the water, and that
we
car
never
just
see him again.
sinks. That guy is dead.
He's gone. Bye-bye.
There's no puppets or dummies in this movie.
He launched
Like,
right off of this
is
movie.
all stunt drivers and stuntmen.
Was there? I feel like there was one. Maybe that I don't know. I'd watch
You,
it.
No,
you
I
would have
never
caught it
saw a
before
dummy.
me.
Yeah,
Like, you are
we'll
the
see
dummy
when it gets
catcher.
to my notes. It might have been in another movie. I've watched a lot of movies recently.
Yeah. At least it wasn't 5 Rambos in 2 weeks.
Right? I mean, I would do that again
I'll
over
do it
watching
again.
this again.
Oh, I'd watch all 5 of those before watching this ever again. Are you kidding me?
Yep. Spoiler alert.
So Eddie Ortega decides to pursue them, and he gets in this adorable little like pontoon boat with this little dainty thing. He's like, "Let's get him!"
But also, like, it's the loudest little motor you've ever heard.
It is.
I'm gonna sneak up on him.
Well, and that's the thing. Somehow he does sneak up on him.
It
right?
works.
'Cause They show Chuck Norris like
In my
driving the boat
face.
in the dark, and Eddie Ortega comes up, and you don't know it's him right away, but you see a guy holding a gun, and then he puts the gun away and takes an axe instead.
He levels down.
Drop the gun to keep the axe. And he tries to attack him again. I don't know how he got on this boat.
It doesn't show
Like,
it.
Yeah, he just is on the boat.
He
This
did
is
it.
the fastest boat in the sector or whatever. Like, how did he catch up?
Yeah.
Like,
You don't catch the freaking Millennium Falcon.
He says I don't think he said it's the fastest. He said it does go 21
You know what?
knots.
Somebody on the Cloud City dock messed with the hyperdrive. So that's
okay.
how he was able to putt up to him.
all right, I got it.
But yeah, and so
They were betrayed by Lando Calrissian, I
Lando
swear.
Fred Williamson.
Lando
That's time appropriate.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have this like grunt battle. Like, so he tries to axe him, and then they're just like pushing against each other. There's no real like fist fight.
No.
They're just he's got
the axe head in his hand.
yeah, Chuck Norris or Eddie Ortega has the axe head, and he's trying to hit Chuck with it because Chuck broke that shit right off.
Oh, yeah.
Chuck is trying to push it towards him, but they're just pushing on each other for like 3 minutes. And it's just like,
Oh, yeah. Deeper.
like I'm watching gay porn. Like, it's
Yeah,
just
or listening to it.
Yeah.
two dudes grunting.
I'll say something about Chuck Norris that I just don't like. He takes himself too seriously.
His acting.
Well, sure, if you want to call it that. But I mean, like, say what you want about these other action movies, they know what they are and they're
Yeah.
fun. This should have been like, he could have axed me nicer. You know, like there's no
Yeah.
puns, there's no cheesy one-liners.
I feel like we got one-liner at some point, but it wasn't a very
Move
good
it.
one.
Move it. Move it, your fucking one-liner from Carlos.
I don't know.
You got a plan?
If there
Yeah, I got
was,
a
I
plan.
would have written it down, so I'm not sure.
It was.
I
Who
mean, it's
am I
not-
trying to impress?
I don't think it's exclusive to this movie. I think it's exclusive to Chuck Norris. He just does not. He's too serious for this.
I
Yeah.
liked him in Sidekicks.
Loved him in Sidekicks.
I don't like him in this.
Don't like him in this at all.
No.
I was watching this just thinking, I don't know if I like Chuck Norris, because to echo what you just said, I was like, man, Sidekicks was like the best I've seen him ever. And that's saying
he's
something.
Just not that good.
No, he's not. He's a white dude that does martial arts. I mean, that's kind of his big thing
and that
back in the
didn't even
80s.
look good in this.
Oh, I think it
Like
looked
his-
fine.
He didn't, but there wasn't much of it.
Yeah,
either.
It wasn't
Closet
JCVD.
Assassin. Closet Assassin was a good fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, but JCVD looks good when he's doing his like, hi-ya,
Well, I think
ka-cha."
JCVD is very aware of his lack of acting prowess, whereas Carlos is like, no, I'm good.
I'm the god.
I'm playing it very well.
I
I
think
am the Chuck.
JCVD was aware early on, and then he started thinking he was actually like an actor.
But then he got aware again, and when that
And
what's
then-
what's the Prime show? I
Oh,
think it's just
gosh.
called Jean-Claude Van Johnson.
Jean-Claude Van Johnson.
That
Yeah.
is so good because
But
he
that's
is
him
having
that's
so.
him coming to the realization that his career is nothing. And he's-
No, step back. So we only hit one person at a time.
I mean, if you look at
Don't you have a new movie coming out? Aren't you Nicolas Cage?
like Street Fighter and stuff like was kind of the peak of his ego, and he was
Well,
he thought he was so great.
He's
And
fucking
it's like,
Kylie Minogue, dude. That'd be the peak of my ego as well.
I would fuck Kylie
Holy
Minogue
shit!
today.
Yeah.
So Chuck Norris does force the axe head into Ernie Ortega's chest, and now all the bad guys are dead. So the end of the movie. All right.
Movie's over.
See you guys.
Is it?
Oh, wait. No, there's like an hour left.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is the most interesting part of the movie, right? They get
Yeah.
to Vietnam, and they're trying to sneak in, and Emmett Walsh realizes that
His
been...
twinkle toes aren't even as good.
No, bad
when
twinkle
he twinkle
toes.
toes, it's like thump, thump, thump.
Yeah.
But Emmett Walsh realizes he's been had because he get there, and Chuck Norris is like, yeah, I'm going to take the boat. I'll go in. You guys wait
What's
here.
going to happen if you have to navigate and shoot?
Oh, well, I'll figure something out, which
You
is Chuck
already did
Norris's
it, you son
go-to
of a
line.
Figure it out.
Chuck Norris says in this movie at least 4 times, I'll figure something out.
I'll move it.
Move it.
I like to move it.
Oh, man. What is Chuck Norris's go-to karaoke song? I'll tell you what it is. Crash Test Dummies.
Ooh.
Once there was this girl.
I was thinking he just does Butthole Surfers because it's easy. He doesn't have to get the
I
inflection.
don't mind the sun sometimes.
Images it shows.
His
That
voice
was-
isn't even that deep, by the way. It's just that fucking monotone. I'm not sure how to put that on there. Like
I
I don't
don't
know
either.
how to monotone without being deep.
I mean, Ben Stein does.
Yeah, I guess so. He's kind of deep.
Bueller.
A little. Bueller. Anyone? Norris. Move it.
Can you win Ben Stein's money?
No. I don't know shit about literature. I watch Jeopardy all the time, and I'm like cleaning up categories, and all of a sudden it gets to literature. I'm like, well,
I'm done.
I'm going to go take a shit in a hat.
Well, that's why you don't know anything. You got to watch it and learn.
White men can't
Like that
jump.
Ken guy.
Ken Burns.
Yeah, there you go.
No, Ken Jennings.
Ken
Ken Burns does the
Oh, yeah, he's the
documentaries.
documentary guy. Whatever.
He probably knows a lot too, though.
I'm sure he does. He seems to know a lot.
Seems like it.
But Chuck Norris, this is when Emmett Walsh is like, wait, you knew I was going to fucking go with you.
son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch. So he gets on the boat and he's going with them. And at first they take the little like assault raft with like another little raft behind them.
They go
and they go
I know,
like
I'm
11 feet.
I died laughing. I couldn't. I was like, did they really just like it's holy shit. It's Ace Ventura when he's got that little powered fan on the boat and he goes 2 feet and grabs a ladder.
Yeah.
This is what you've just done to me.
Yeah.
But they're dropping off that other raft in
Yeah.
case they need it. That's what we were both just like, what
It
the
comes
fuck?
back. It's
Yeah,
it's
but,
Chekhov's
yeah,
raft.
It's Chuck's raft.
It's Chuckoff's gun.
He knows he's gonna go with them. They go and they drop this boat off and they're taking the pontoon boat or the assault raft, which is just a funny word, sentence, phrase, whatever.
It's
Assault
G.I.
raft.
Joe. G.I. Joe, dude. It's a fucking inflatable raft with giant guns on it.
Yeah.
And I love it because he took all this effort to camouflage this raft because it's painted like a gray with shark teeth,
Oh,
like we
God.
said.
That's
He puts
right.
the ropes and the
the
stuff
whole-
over it, and
Chuck's
he's wearing
in green.
camo, and everything is camouflaged.
And then you have
he
Mehmet
brings
here.
Emmett Walsh, who's wearing this
Blue.
fucking Panama Jim shirt.
And a bright white hat.
What's the ones that they're supposed to for fat people? Tommy Bahama. He's got his Tommy Bahama Hawaiian shirt on. Oh, but blend right in with all the other white dudes trying to find Filipino hookers.
I mean, that could have been his go-to. He's like, I don't have anybody on the boat with
I
me.
look like a tourist with a machine gun.
I'm just on this
There's a
boat as a
jacket on it.
tourist. It doesn't matter if there's C4 and a mounted machine gun.
Nothing
can't
to
see
see
that.
here.
That's just how you buy boats in Vietnam.
They come
my-
you try and find me a boat in Vietnam without a gun on it.
So he takes out, like, he goes up to shore for some reason and takes out some soldiers. And
There's
then
a
just goes
boat in
back
front.
to the
There's
water.
a boat in front of them that they like. The boat tiptoes into the reeds, and the boat in front of them doesn't see him. So Chuck looks through the grass and sees a patrol coming. So
Okay.
he kind of like, well, between a rock and a hard place, and I'd rather go for the rock, I guess.
And he's
Yeah.
mostly taking out all these dudes, more like leg kicks and then choking out.
I gotta tell you though, I appreciate. We've talked about this in other movies that people don't do it, but he takes the body first. He takes the gun and throws it into the bushes.
Sure does.
Then he takes the body and throws it in the bushes. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
don't just leave it lying around.
Because that's how Rambo
great.
got caught in 2 and 3 and 4.
Exactly. I
He
thought
left
about
behind
that.
bodies.
I was like, point for Chuck.
Yeah.
You get one, dude.
He got one.
Everybody
Everybody
gets
gets one.
But the last soldier is kind of dominating Chuck, and so Walsh ends up shooting him.
Sorry,
which then
last one.
alerts the patrol boat.
Mm-hmm.
So then he's like, well, should we leave or should we keep going? And he's like, well, we've only got one choice now. And I'm like,
Yeah,
well, no, you
we
still
can
got
fight
those
or
2
flee.
choices.
Yeah.
You leave
Well,
or
that's
keep
what I
going.
laughed at too. He's like, should we fight or should we flee? Looks like the choice is already made for us. Okay, which one though? You didn't
You
tell me what
fight.
to do.
It's Chuck.
Or we're fleeing.
No, you're fighting.
What if he wanted you to flee though, and you start shooting? He's like, "What are you doing? I couldn't. You never told me what we were doing."
Because it's Chuck and he
Chuck.
wants to fight.
You know, my name is Chuck, and I'm here to fight.
Is this the part where they like end up jumping over the boat and he drops a grenade in it?
Oh, if it's not,
Oh
it's
yeah,
like
they're finding ramps to jump over.
I was gonna say this boat gets airborne out of nowhere just by pressing the gas, and yeah, Chuck Norris just fucking drops a cherry of a grenade into this other boat, like
Because I have a note that says grenade boat, so I wasn't sure if that was it or if he threw one or what it was. I think
Yeah.
it's when he's jumping over it and
jump
he just
over it.
drops
he
it
just
on it.
lays a fucking egg.
He poops on it.
It's a grenade egg. It's a
Grenade.
grenade.
And you know what? There was another little bit that I kind of appreciated. He's after they get away from that boat and they find the MIA camp, he's sneaking in, and instead of just coming up to like the other, like the Rambo movies, he just comes up to the edge of the camp and sneaks in. And there's no like fence. This is all fenced in with like a bamboo wall that's been built. So it shows him sitting there like clipping the things and
He
pulling
misses
off the
it.
bamboo slats. And
Did you notice that the
No.
first one that he snips, like he puts the whatever this tool is, wire cutter, I guess we'll call it because it's what it is. He puts it up there, and the sound effect is him cutting it. But if you look, it misses completely, and that wire is still fully intact. Like they just were like, take. That's the best. Just fucking take.
we're running out
Budget
of film.
cuts.
That's
guys.
it. We'll fix it in post.
So he's sneaking through this camp.
Derek's
Every
favorite
soldier, every soldier is just drinking. They're just getting sloshed. Like it was like the guys hanging out and drinking whatever. Because I mean, the war is over, right?
But that's
They're
how
not
they beat us in the
expecting
war.
anything.
They were drunk, and our soldiers were sober as shit. Just kidding. It was
Our
the
soldiers
opposite.
were on heroin
and LSD.
But my favorite one was like all these guys are drinking, they're hanging out, whatever. Because again, they're not expecting anybody,
Right.
right? But then you cut to like the comms like hut, and there's this guy sitting there, and he's like doing all this stuff, looking all serious, all these buttons and bleeps and blops, and he just stops and he looks at it, and then he reaches over and just grabs a bottle of whiskey and starts swinging. I was like, even this guy's getting hammered. He's doing the
serious
technical
guys
work.
drinking.
I do like how they edited this part though. So he's clearly going under like important huts and arming C4 and setting it for 10 minutes, but we only see 2 of them. And then when the explosion starts, there's 10 of them.
Yeah, he did a bunch.
We didn't have to see him do the same fucking maneuver
I appreciate the edit.
10 times.
I'm fine with it. I get it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I guess Chuck Norris assumes that in bright light he's not that visible though.
Correct.
Because he's sneaking in, and at first it's like shadow to shadow to shadow. He runs through into like literally underneath this like phosphorus bulb, and he
But he's
just
behind a
stops
barricade.
and like looks left and right, like in the middle of a spotlight. It's like a fucking cartoon.
Well,
He's
as
like,
it turns
he's
out,
like, "Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee." Gets there and just looks back and forth like, oh, you can't see me because I'm a ginger. So I'm like, I match this bright light. I don't understand.
As it turns out, I think something very underrated or not well known is the VC's sight is based on vision, much like a T-Rex.
yeah.
I mean movement.
Movement.
Most
Sorry.
sites based on vision.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that. Yeah, no, very much like a T-Rex. It's based on movement.
So he just stop in the light and
He
they
just
look
stopped-
and he's just like,
I thought I saw somebody, but it turns out I didn't see anybody. He could have also just gone shirtless and pretended to be a tumbleweed.
So do you think
Yeah.
that what Kronk was trying to do in Emperor's New Groove? He was being Chuck Norris. And he's like, no, no.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, Chuck got it from that because that was first.
No, Emperor's New
not
Groove.
religious. No. Period wise.
Oh, period wise. Got it.
I was like, I've never seen it, so I'm not sure what you guys are talking about, but that definitely didn't come before.
You
this.
haven't seen Emperor's New Groove?
No.
It's a very underrated Disney movie.
Isn't it David Spade?
I'm sorry, you threw off the Emperor's Groove. As much as you might not like David Spade, you do love John Goodman.
I like David Spade when he's with Chris Farley.
Oh, David Spade's the best with Chris Farley.
Yeah.
Because he's the shitty straight man to what is Chris Farley's ridiculousness.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts of this whole sequence, too, is when he's sneaking around. This music that's playing is, speaking of Joseph Zito, this is straight up Friday the 13th. He's like sneaking through this camp, and it's just like, shh, shh, shh.
Yeah,
I
they
watched this
had
with
that sound.
half of the bleeps, and we talked like there's a horror movie here that no one followed through with.
Only bleep and not blop.
Yeah, bleep not blop. Blop fell asleep, but and she was the smarter for it. But yeah, there's something else here. There's a horror movie here that we didn't just follow up on.
Yeah. I just couldn't believe it was just straight up, shh, shh, shh. I mean, they didn't do the part, but it was.
That would terrify
I would watch
me.
that.
Chuck Norris as Jason Voorhees.
Whoo.
He doesn't wear the mask. Everybody is shirtless.
Oh, that's even more terrifying.
Is that the thing from the lagoon? No, it's not. It's just is that Bigfoot out there?
Looks like the clog in my drain came to life.
That's
what's
just
the
that
guy's
guy.
name?
You know his name. You've mentioned it before. That guy from Looney Tunes.
Yeah, fucking
Gosmer.
Yosemite Sam's
Yeah,
mustache.
dude, Chuck Norris, live action Looney Tunes. Chuck Norris is Gosmer.
Yes.
You've heard it here, folks.
It will happen. Maybe not now because he's not red anymore.
Well, and so I kind of thought like we were way past the prime of this, but Chuck Norris in a G.I. Joe movie that's not taking itself too seriously.
But
it
he
should
would
have
be.
happened.
Would be the movie doesn't have to.
Yeah.
He would be there just doing whatever. He would just be, I mean, he could be what, Duke, shave his beard and he could be Falcon.
I mean, he's kind of in a G.I. He's in at least one of those Expendables movies, right?
Yeah.
That's G.I. Joe,
Is it?
isn't it?
I didn't have those toys.
I mean,
I had
feel like
all the G.I. Joes. Oh, I already know who he is because it's a ridiculous name, but it's a redheaded bearded guy named Snowjob.
Snow Job?
Yeah, we're talking like early 80s. I had this toy, and it was a redheaded dude in a snowsuit named Snowjob. I'll bring up an image for you at some
I guess because
point.
he's the
My
easiest
goodness.
one to hide in the snow. He's got the white stuff, but then his face is exposed, and you can
the
still can't see
white
him.
stuff.
Baby. Girl,
So-
you never let me down. Sorry.
So we get a bunch of big booms. He blows up all of the huts here, basically.
Oh, big bada boom.
Big bada boom.
Bada boom.
Speaking of redheads,
Oh, yeah.
and then he ends up taking out the guard in the tower with another grenade launcher, which is pretty cool. Another big explosion. None of these guys can hit anything at this point. I guess they're startled.
It's a bunch of stormtroopers.
But
Oh,
Chuck
yeah.
Norris takes these guys out like
Well, they're
nothing.
also drunk.
That's
remember.
fair. They're drunk, and they weren't expecting a battle.
I'm drunk, you're drunk, well, I'm drunk. But I shoot a gun real good.
Oh, you're still doing MM at Walsh?
I shoot a gun real good when I'm drunk. I see two of you, but I shoot four of you. Oh, that's how you win a war.
One for each of you.
So he does get to the cages and tries to release people. And at first it looks like no one's in there. Like he opens it and
does.
just walks away. Turns out they're
swore
full
to
of,
God there was nobody in there.
turns out they're
Right?
full of South Vietnamese, but he's just like, oh, no people
You're
in here.
barely people
Yeah,
to me.
exactly. And one of the
I
guys
know I did John Wayne.
Before you find out there's people in there, I'm like, did you see that shadow come out of the box?
Oh, you saw something come out. I was like, well, he just found an empty campsite.
Yeah, well, it's
Yeah.
like the fifth door that he opens from the ground. And I'm just like, that's a shadow. Like, I thought it was a cameraman. Like, I thought we saw the camera guy's
it's entirely
shadow.
possible.
I reference Wayne's World a lot, or Wayne's World 2, either one. This reminded me of Wayne's World because this prisoner had all the information.
Yes.
And it's Chris Farley's character who plays the security guard for Mr. Big who gives all the exposition of like, well, he's going to be here and he watches the movies on this, he watches videos on this and he doesn't travel, he does this, he's going to be here at this time. Wow, that security guard had a lot of information.
Yeah, somehow this guy knew exactly where they were taking him because like they moved the soldiers and he could say like, yeah, they went north or whatever. But he's like, oh, they're taking them more inland to this place here and whatever.
I don't think he said to this place. He was saying they just left not just 3 hours ago and they followed the river.
I didn't see a
Okay.
watch on this guy. How the fuck do you know when they left, buddy?
He knows by how many farts he
Oh.
hears.
Oh man, I couldn't tell time by my farts. Way too inconsistent. It's either 3 o'clock or it's 9.
He does mention that. So there's this guy. These are all South Vietnamese, presumably. They're Black Panther Rangers, which I guess was a real regiment of South Vietnamese that worked a lot.
Okay,
with
when
the
he said
Americans.
Black Panther Rangers, I for whatever reason I was like, oh, he's talking about the soldiers just left. Full disclosure, man, I was like 8-10 beers deep at this point, just trying to make fucking sense of the world.
all I thought when he said Black Panther Rangers was I was like, I'd watch that show.
And Chuck
It's
Norris comes in.
Marvel Power Rangers crossover.
Another Forrest Gump crossover. Sorry, ruined your Black Panther party.
So he catches up to this convoy that left 3 hours ago in like 20 minutes.
He used Ortega's sneaky boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going down the river, and they apparently like there's only one road, so it just follows this river, which seems pointless. Like you have the river, you could just, if you're moving supplies, you would have the river where you can move stuff up and down the
Sure.
river. Then you would have a road that goes elsewhere, not just right alongside the river.
Yeah.
I don't really understand, but hey, whatever. Movie.
You want a visual. You want to see the scenic route.
Well, this is why we're not evil dictators.
That's fair. We'd be too good at it.
We're way too good. You would make a movie about this because I'd shut it down.
Hey, I've seen the movie on it. I know how to do it.
I've seen plenty of movies on it. I'd be the greatest dictator.
I've seen a lot of those movies.
I've seen a lot of those.
So he just starts wiping out these soldiers with this mounted like 50 cal. It looks different than the one Rambo used, but I'm assuming it's still 50.
I still don't think it's a 50. I think it's the one that he used in number 1. It's like I'm blanking, M60 maybe.
Oh, because he takes it off and uses it later too.
I'm almost positive it's the same belt fed that fucking Rambo uses
the
in the first one.
kind of thing going on.
Yeah. I want to say it's an M60. I'll even look it up while we're chatting if you
I
want.
go ahead because I don't know the difference. I see a mounted gun, my head thinks 50 cal.
Yeah.
I don't know guns.
50 cal would be a belt fed 50 cal would be almost impossible for anyone to shoot
Except
without
Rambo.
being mounted. No,
without being mounted, because even in Rambo
4.
Oh, that's the one where he's on the...
the original script had written for him to take it off and fire it, but it was so
put in
unwieldy,
perspective,
they just left it on the
to
mount.
put in perspective, Schoolboy in Rambo
Yeah.
4 as well, he's got a 50 cal sniper.
And that thing is
That
humongous.
thing kicks like a bucket of mules.
I bet.
It's like being shot through a bucket of burritos.
It was sexy.
There's a truck full of the POWs, or I'm sorry, MIAs, who there's only 4 of them.
I got to interrupt real quick as I'm Googling. I got the only words I have is what gun is used in, and it finishes with most mass shootings.
Oh my God.
Like, holy
times,
shit,
America.
dude. I don't, if I
Pull
hit,
it down,
if
Google.
I click on that, I'm on a list.
You are.
Well, you're on a list of future patsies for, false flag operations or something. I don't know.
Lee Harvey Oswald. That's what was needed in this. Oh.
But the POWs, sorry, the MIAs do end up joining the battle. He wipes out a bunch of these dudes with this gun. And these guys, one of them was eyeballing the guards and got yelled at and was like, he's already thinking about how to get out.
Don't you fuck me, boy.
Exactly.
Also, why are they it's been 7 years and you only have 4 of them? Why are you keeping them alive?
If we believe Rambo 2, it's for ransom.
But then they're denying they even exist. So it's like...
It is a weird thing. Oh, by the way, it's an M60.
Okay.
And that is the gun that Rambo uses in... And I know he uses it
First
also
Blood.
in... Well, he picks it back up in number 2.
Oh, that's right.
And he probably picks it up in 3. I'm just blanking on it.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
It's hard to tell. He does not use it in 5.
2 and 3 are very similar
That is
movies.
all
just one's in a
blades.
desert and one's in a forest. Like,
Moist and not moist.
but these
Rambo 3, not moist.
Rambo 3
I didn't watch
colon,
Rambo
not
3.
moist.
So.
Oh, you watched the moist one.
I watched
All the moist ones.
all
the
the
moist
moist ones. Yeah, 3 is the one I did not watch.
All right, I guess we'll watch it right now.
Okay, pause. Wow.
You know
what
what?
a
The music I was gonna do was almost. I almost went. And then I was like, that's not hold music. Although if I was ever on hold with like my insurance company or something and it started playing and they're like, just hold for a minute, and you hear silence, then you hear that click, and then it's like
I was just ranting to the roomie about having to be on hold with Cox. And I was like, when, as a society, are we going to improve hold music? Because this is torture. And if you would have put that on, I'm like, you know what? 25-minute wait time is fine. I'm on hold with Cox right now. I can't wait for them to answer.
And you hear that, and then I think of the WB Frog when he's like,
Welcome back.
yeah.
The WB.
I loved that guy.
Fuck that frog. Racist ass motherfucker.
I mean, he's not wrong. It's kind of like those crows from Dumbo.
Yeah. It's a little too caricature-y.
Yeah. So I do have a note here that he jumps the truck and drops a grenade. So he might not have jumped a boat earlier. I don't know. It's very confusing.
There is a vehicle airborne. He drops a grenade right out of it at some point. We just don't know when, because this movie's barely a movie.
And their boat gets hit by like a rocket launcher, and Chuck Norris and Emmett Walsh go flying out of it.
It
and
is-
these soldiers are cackling like fucking cartoon
I
characters.
would too.
But it's not even like a real. It's like just like
And then the famous scene.
It's a Wilhelm's laugh.
And then the famous scene, Chuck pops out of the water with his M16.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
They stole this straight from
titular scene.
Sidekicks.
I
Man.
know. I've seen this before
Fucking,
in Sidekicks.
you are
It's ridiculous.
aping Sidekicks.
And it's
called
also in the
satire.
third movie.
Is
Because
it?
I saw when we were watching the thing, they were showing clips from all the movies, and they were talking about
Now-
the third movie. But I mean, I would see them redoing it for the third
Refresh
movie.
my
right?
brain, because I think you said this was a troubleshoot because it's most guns don't work from coming out
Yeah,
of
well,
the water.
Aaron Norris said it in Sidekicks, and he did direct
Gotcha.
number 3, so it would make sense that the version they're doing in Sidekicks is the version they're doing in Braddock: Missing in Action 3, not Mission Impossible.
It's the stupidest thing you've said today.
And yeah, he was like, the gun doesn't work when you pull it out of the water, so all they got to do is get him to pop up and get like one round to go off, and then they can cut to a working version.
Yeah.
Because usually in movies, you won't even really notice. They'll have like when someone's firing, it'll be like a bright flash that kind of takes up the whole screen, and then so they can use that to cut into
Yeah.
a version where he's standing there with a dry gun. I mean, obviously it's not real bullets, but it might be.
Might be.
Chuck
the
Norris
80s.
is from Texas.
Chuck doesn't act. It's real. This is real life.
I'll do my own stunts. So does my gun.
So he rescues the MIAs and he tells them, "You boys are going home." I don't know why he's Southern all of a sudden, but
I was kind of hoping that he meant to his house. Cut to like fucking the sequel to this is him cooking for 4 POWs. Look, you will eat what I give you, and that's it. All
look,
right.
you guys have been here for 6 months. Just get a job and get your own place.
I just want you to pitch in a little bit.
This is
okay.
a 1-bedroom apartment.
Oh my god! I come home. Somebody's already kicked my TV for me. All my beers already have triangle cuts in them. I didn't do that.
You guys, there's just pull tabs all over the floor. My dog keeps trying to eat them.
We are running low on bullets, and I'm talking silver.
Yes, we are.
Not us. We have plenty.
So they're getting chased by these VC guys after he lets them out. And they're driving down this road, and it's very much like a Phantom thing here, right? They're chasing through the jungle. These guys are right behind them. And then we cut to this other angle, and the VC trucks go driving by, and you see Chuck Norris's Jeep that cut down this alley in this jungle.
Yeah, out of
It's literally
nowhere.
like a chase in a city where it's just like, oh, we'll turn down the alley. They won't see us.
The
But
Jeep-
there's a jungle alley.
The Jeep might as well have been like, shh, don't tell. We're right here. It was, I mean, no one passing looked left.
Right?
No one.
Yeah.
You had, what do you think, 4, 5, maybe more?
At least in each
vehicles
truck.
going by.
Oh, I thought
Aren't you
meant
supposed
people.
to be looking around?
Oh, I'm talking about vehicles. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Well,
at least 4 or 5 vehicles.
as Derek has told us, there's only one road in this whole fucking goddamn town.
Even though
So,
this
like, well,
jungle alley is clearly a road,
Yeah,
it's
they
got
didn't-
2 ruts in it.
And even if they didn't even if this road already, it'd be worse if it didn't exist. Because you'd be like, hey, look, there's a bunch of downed plant life
yeah, you
this way.
drove. Like, looks like somebody drove through this bush. Yeah. He sets like a cool little trap when they jump out of the Jeep, and he puts a grenade kind of on the back of the Jeep.
I was wondering where this was going because you know how grenades work. That you can pull the pin, but as long
Keep
as
it
that
held.
that lever is still pressed
Yeah.
in, it's fine. So he jams it in behind, like I don't know, the back
the
of the
gas
Jeep. Yeah, the
canister
gas.
that's
I'm
on
like, well,
there.
how's that gonna work?
Well,
And
he
it
had
does.
predicted that these guys would be assholes because they show up and they just ram into this Jeep because fuck their truck too, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Well,
and
it
they
was
hit the
theirs.
Jeep
they got
and
a
it
big bumper.
explodes, and then those guys are wiped out.
Oh, did you see the 2 squibs come out of the one guy's back?
No.
Who was in the back of the Jeep, and he like falls over and 2 squibs.
I'm
come
not
out of
rewatching
it.
it, so I'm gonna take you at your word.
I believe
I was
you.
just like,
yeah, I
Okay.
believe you.
And we get kind of a throwback to the first scene because they're trying to cross this river, and all the VC are on one side shooting at them. They have no way to defend themselves. They're just running for their lives. But these VC soldiers can't hit shit.
No.
These guys are out in the open in this water. They can't move quickly, and they can't get hit for anything.
They're launching the fucking grenades
They've got
to
the
the other
mortars,
side of
yeah.
the bank.
Mm-hmm.
This is when Chuck is taking out dudes with a one-handed M16, just picking them off at a distance, which I'm pretty sure that's not how that works.
You don't use your M16 like it's a pistol. Well, you shouldn't. He did. He does. It works.
Chuck Norris does.
Chuck Norris does.
And they're trying to get
Every gun's a handgun to Chuck Norris.
They're trying to get the MIA soldiers out to their boat to escape. So they put them on the little raft and they're going out. And then this patrol boat starts approaching. So they're like halfway to the boat they're using to escape. and they see this patrol boat arriving.
There's a little
and
patrol boat
So Chuck Norris is
coming.
like, go back to the shore. And I'm like, why? What are you doing?
It's
I
like
mean,
the
clearly I
blonde
knew
that
at
swims halfway,
Oh, yeah, they're
gets
in-
tired, so swims halfway back. Like, no, keep going.
Well, and I clearly at this point, you knew what was going to happen. They're like, well, we got to go back to the shore. And it's like, well, for story purposes, they have to go back to the shore because their boat's about to be fucking obliterated.
Right, but this is when they're in that raft that was hidden 11 feet from the boat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're back to Chuck Off's gun.
Yeah,
Well, because he hit it. He did have a good point. He hit it because he's like, I don't know if they're going to be in shape to swim to the boat.
true.
Not wrong.
Which
Honestly,
these guys all
I feel
seem
like they
fine.
would have been.
Yeah.
These don't look like the POWs from Rambo 2.
I feel like if you swam, it would have been a lot better than just two people with tiny paddles.
Well,
trying to
I think he's saying
Yeah.
that they physically would not have been able to swim because
Even
Float,
though
and
to
I
your-
will swim you.
To your point, though, yeah, they could swim. They took a gun off one of the guards and started like helping foment their own escape.
Yeah.
these guys are all in pretty good shape.
They're fine.
Yeah,
They were well
again,
taken
not like
care of.
Rambo 2 where we had that guy that was like emaciated. He looked like fucking Christian Bale in The Machinist.
Yes,
You
Right.
were
did.
talking about Jesus on the cross.
Ooh.
Jesus crossed.
But yeah, so this is that part with the patrol boat, and it's just this same shot over and over of this boat approaching, and it never fucking gets there.
It
And-
never does.
Austin Power Steamroller.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I don't even know. They probably say his name, but it's Jack's. It's my guy on
Yeah,
the
his
boat.
little boatman.
That's my
Yeah.
little boatman. He jumps on the fucking M60.
Yeah, when
And
they
he's
were
trying to
leaving,
take
by the
things
way,
out.
he told him, he's like, give us 14 hours. If we don't come back, you get the boat.
That boat's
I
gone.
kept waiting for that boat to
That
not
boat's
be
gone,
there,
dude.
yeah.
I'm like, well, he's gonna die.
But this
He really
guy,
liked
this
him.
guy
I know.
was committed to the cause, and yeah, he tries to help them.
and honestly, Jack's committed to him.
Yeah.
which we're gonna see.
They're not hitting shit, by the way. Nobody's hitting anything.
No,
Everybody's
neither
just
side.
firing hundreds of dollars worth of bullets.
Isn't
This
this
is-
when like the helicopter comes in?
Not yet.
It comes
because
in just a moment here.
so the PT boat was able to kill the hired help or the Jack's friend.
Yeah.
Oh no, my favorite boy's dead.
He's my best boy.
Oh, he was the muscly arm boy. Just down the street, you shot him.
Yeah, when he gets taken out, that's when Emmett Walsh goes and climbs onto the boat.
Oh, but he's got a great exit. He's on the raft with Rambo.
Oh.
He's on the Rambo. Fuck, dude. He's on the raft with Chuck, and he jumps in like a dead fish. He goes, "I'll see you in hell."
yeah.
He's barefoot, by the way.
Well, that's how most Jacks are.
I see
As
that.
I wave at you with my toes.
Yeah, I'll see you in hell. He jumps off. He gets on his boat and he starts trying to help.
And
by
he's
covering
doing
fire.
the same exact. He's doing it just as well as
Yeah.
the other guy. Where like you're wasting.
How did this guy make it through Vietnam?
How the fuck is this gun just full of blanks? He's like, oh, she's got some
Well, I mean,
surprises.
yes, it is, but-
I mean, I understand that.
Within the continuity of the movie, no, it should not be.
But
This
again,
is-
it's taking forever for this fucking patrol boat to come.
Because we wandered into a Wes Anderson Vietnam movie somehow.
And it's like those scenes in Barbie where it's not actually on any water moving. There's just like waves in the background that are just rotating. But Tucker or Emmett Walsh, I've never really referred to him. I wrote Tucker because Emmett Walsh was a lot to write.
I just know it's Jack.
Jack,
Because,
yeah.
I mean, I don't like hearing my own name.
he
So
calls him
he-
Tuck.
Yeah.
He gets fucking exploded. He gets obliterated.
my problem
Yes, he
is
does.
it shows him shooting the gun and then it cuts to a wide fucking shot of this boat blowing up. Like, I want to see his face kind of disappear in flame. You know, like, oh
Yeah.
no, I'll miss my prostitute.
They didn't have that CG.
I know.
You don't need to CG. You could just do it.
Yeah, it's doable. Movies did it before.
I don't
this.
mean just blow up Emmett Walsh. But
How dare you? The man is a treasure.
They did not have the money for a dummy to blow up.
Well, I mean, you spent $1 million on Carlos.
Exactly.
There goes your blowing Emmett Walsh money.
Exactly.
Oh,
don't have enough- you don't have enough to blow.
blown earlier in the whole house.
I don't need $1 million for that. I live in Vietnam. Just give me like
$1.50. $1.50 by a couple hours.
$10. I'll give me anything I want. I asked it twice, anything, and she said anything.
I took the country over with a cup of tea.
So the chopper is like circling and ends up taking out the patrol boat. They do get
Finally,
the guys
somebody
up on
can hit
there.
it.
Yeah. They get the guys up, and then the pilot is like, hey, if I would have known it was going to be like this, I wouldn't have fucking agreed to do this for $1 million, man.
Oh, yeah.
What the fuck? You told me you needed a ride.
Yeah. I do like the scene of, because Chuck's the last one. Got to
Oh,
be the
yeah.
last one. So he's still in the water holding the ladder as the helicopter takes off. And it's just a fun little thing. It looks like it's Chuck
Yeah.
hanging on and, water's pouring off of him. It looks good.
I mean,
There's one
JCVD
part-
wasn't his stuntman. I know that.
No.
There
He
is
doesn't have
one
the
part
body
that-
hair for that.
There's one part that Derek pointed out. He's like, "That is not how you climb up a ladder, buddy."
Yeah, one of the
Without your
POWs
feet?
is like climbing up the
Backwards?
ladder. He's got like a foot on one side and a foot on the front and a foot on the back, and he's climbing up the side of the ladder. And I'm like, that's not how ladders work. That is the most difficult way to climb
He's
a ladder.
been in captivity for a while. There's some things about society
I
you
know they're like
forget.
rope ladders that hang down and they move, but
That
come
part,
on, man.
I think it's so another person could go up the other side.
Well, that
but
could
But they're
ends
not.
up he ends up being on the back side of the ladder, and there's one.
That's
shot
not
where
how you
it's-
get in a helicopter.
There's one shot where it's far away, where Chuck is on the bottom, and he is underneath the helicopter.
Yeah.
I think he's taking the whole ride hanging on that ladder. though.
Probably.
Oh yeah, we're going to because where they go? Singapore,
Yeah, they're going back
Saigon?
to Singapore.
Saigon.
Saigon.
Yeah,
Oh,
so they go
Saigon.
back to Saigon and they go to this
Thank
meeting
God this
that has
movie's
continued.
wrapping up. Holy shit!
Is it?
The
Oh,
chopper,
yeah.
the chopper. Oh, it's done.
It's
this
done.
movie ends.
because it ends on like a. It might as well be as a fucking freeze frame.
It is a freeze frame.
Might as well be then.
The
Shows how
chopper,
much I paid attention to the end of it.
the chopper lands outside of this government building,
Get
a
out of
la
the chopper.
Stone Cold.
People are screaming.
kind of like the end of Stone Cold, but not nearly as exciting.
Dude, there's nothing in this movie as exciting as anything in Stone Cold. I am sorry.
But the chopper lands. All these people are running in terror because this chopper is just landing on top of like fruit stands. A lot of fruit stands getting annihilated in this movie. Chuck
But
does not
unlike-
like fruit.
Unlike Michael Bay fruit stands, they don't blow up out of nowhere.
The
Saigon is
fruit
not
are
full
not
of
actually
exploding
just
fruit.
grenades painted red.
That pineapple looks a little funny. Kabloom.
So as like he gets everybody off and they go rushing in, and there's all these guards guarding this building, and
Hold
they
on,
just
dude.
bum rush these
He
dudes.
gets everybody off?
Yeah.
Like, he's
Chuck Norris
just-
got everybody off on the
he's-
helicopter.
all right,
One look.
spit polish real quick.
Look,
Get out of
it's
here.
been 7 years. They're like, what do you think we've been doing, man?
Move it.
That's what he says when he wants you to jizz. Move it. All right, next.
Shoot
Move
it.
Shoot it. Next.
But
So
yeah,
he gets everybody off.
yes, he gets everybody off.
They all thumbs
They
him up.
bum rush these guards at this fucking government building who don't fire at them.
Dude, I'm glad you said it because I'm like, this movie's over. You're all shot.
Yeah.
You're all
Yeah.
fucking dead because you're without announcement or any sort of authorization. You are pushing your way through to some. It's a big hearing, right? It's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this
It's like
is
all
where
all the upper brass of Vietnam. There's representatives from the United States, some
and
from
this
other
is
countries.
where,
like
if my memory serves me right, one of the high up generals starts to say like there are no
yeah, replacement general.
PO double.
Yeah, and as he's saying it, they enter, and it's like, oh, I prove that they are. And
No,
it's just
it's not even
fucking
that.
straight freeze frame.
They enter
Yeah.
with his face, and that's freeze frame.
It's
That's
him
it.
and like the main MIA guy.
I kept
Yeah.
waiting for old fucking is it Judd Nelson to throw his hand up on a football field and just pause right there. Don't you forget about me? It's such a good POW song.
And I guess it's kind of the same concept as Rambo 2, right? Or First Blood Part 2, whatever. Where
You say
he's-
however you want, baby.
where he's trying to prove that they're there to get the government to go after them. In this case, he's trying to prove that they're there to stop the Vietnamese from lying that they are. So it's like, well, here's some POWs, so I proved it.
Yeah.
The
Which
end.
also, I mean, if this is the only ones they're holding, you don't have to prove it. Just get them home.
Yep.
They're
Done.
only holding 4.
It's over. You don't need them to admit it because you got them.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm glad the movie ended,
Me too.
but I needed something of them being like, okay, now we know, so we're gonna.
How
but
about
I didn't need it. I'm
how
glad
about
it's
an
not
ending
there, but-
scroll?
Yeah,
Just
anything.
a quick little like. And since that moment, everybody owed Chuck Norris hand jobs because he did his job.
That's
maybe
right.
maybe that's what missing in action 3 is. It's just a bunch of people jerking off Chuck Norris.
Oh man, I think
He's
I
just like-
downloaded the wrong movie.
That's not
He's like,
family
he's
appropriate.
like, guys, I'm getting a little raw here, and they're like, nope, next.
Move it.
And that's the end of the movie. Thank fuck.
Thank God.
I feel like I know how we're going with this, but recommendations?
No, but I do want to say, and you will probably never ever hear me say this ever again. This could have used Michael Bay.
Yeah,
I think it would have been a better movie.
Well, there would have been more robots.
it wouldn't have been worse. I'll tell you that. I also don't recommend. Clearly, but unlike a lot of other movies where I say like I don't recommend it unless there's no unless.
there's no
I don't
unless.
recommend drinking during this movie. I don't recommend watching this with a friend. I recommend putting toothpicks in your enemy's eyelids and showing him this.
I'm
Yeah.
going to have to disagree with one thing you said. You said it couldn't be worse with Michael Bay. It could be 2.5 hours.
I take back what I said. I take back what I said because this, as much as it drags, it comes in at 140, a little bit above.
Yeah, it's
But it
it's
feels
101.
like
so
240.
Yeah, it felt fucking long.
It did.
Scaling
it
buildings.
kind of
and
just went.
shit.
We were watching it, and I was just like, "Oh God, this is boring."
I think we
Spider
only
Chuck.
shared
Spider
2 beers.
Chuck.
Yeah, I didn't.
They were
even-
64 ounces, but
We
still.
had, well, no, we had 1 beer
I'm
piece
teasing.
essentially, and it should have been more.
We only split 1 bottle of vodka.
You will never see us drink vodka. It's whiskey or tequila for me.
Oh, okay.
But I don't recommend this either. I think this is a big turd.
Yeah, it is. It's not enough of what it wants to be.
I have the other 2, and I feel like I have to force us all to watch them at some point. But
Can
it'll
we
be a
not
while.
do it tomorrow?
No, it won't be anytime soon. We will not be doing a Chuckathon.
No
Thank God.
fucking way.
That's almost as punishing as doing a Michael Bayathon.
Yeah, no, you can go chuck yourself.
Oh, now we have to do a Chuckathon because I know what it's called.
Go chuck yourself. I'll keep doing Chuck Norris movies, but I mean, like it won't be this. It won't be another one of these at least this year.
I really want to do the Hitman, which is one of the ones they referenced in Sidekicks. It's the one where Joe Piscopo was like poisoning candy.
Oh,
and
he's
he
the
was like a
Joker.
Batman
With
villain.
Smog.
Oh,
and
it's when
MSG.
they show up as Hard Target before Hard Target
Yeah, exactly.
exists.
And it just looks
Got to find your
stupid
daddy.
fun. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably isn't.
We'll give it a peek though.
But yeah, no, fuck this movie. Don't watch this movie.
Nope. Save yourself, please.
I feel like following all these Rambo movies and stuff where we were like, oh man, yeah, check it out. It's just been a series of like, why?
Yeah.
Why are we here?
Yeah.
What are we
This
doing
is-
with our
You
lives?
done chucked up.
Next week, we will be doing a movie I'm much more excited for. It'll be Shakedown, starring Peter Weller and Sam Elliott. Sam Elliott?
Ooh, some Elliot.
Sam
I
Elliott.
would smell him.
I bet he smells delicious.
Like, oh, I bet he smells like leather and freaking tree bark.
tobacco. Like
Tobacco, rich Cavendish.
It's another one I just bought blindly because
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. And
Sometimes
hopefully
that
it's
pays
wonderful.
off. This did not. It happens.
Look, you guys will see the reason I bought this. People listening, if your chosen form of podcast listening shows the images that I upload, it's the cover of the movie, and it's Peter Weller looking like a buttoned up like agent guy with his gun, and then Sam Elliott. When I first saw this, before I clicked it and saw what it was, I thought he was a wizard of something. Like he's got like these flowing locks and this beard and his big mustache, and it turns out he's riding a motorcycle, but it looked like he was just like a wizard standing there with like magic wind blowing his hair back. I was just like, what? Sam Elliott is a wizard?
Sam Elliott as Gandalf would be so fucking good.
Oh man, that's a Lord of the Rings. You know what? If they're gonna remake it, Sam Elliott.
They're not going to, but if they do,
Yeah.
Sam Elliott for Gandalf, hashtag. Also, to go on to that, you do a great job of putting images on Instagram, Facebook,
Yeah.
and I haven't checked Twitter or whatever the fuck it's called now, but
X.
I do know that you do very well at posting images that even being on this podcast, I like seeing. So
I try
keep
to
it up.
find fun ones to get
Yeah.
people interested.
Well played, sir.
So that'll be it for this week. Don't forget to check out Evasion. They provide our music. They're awesome. And they gave it to us for free because they're super cool like that.
go throw money at Patch.
Yeah, throw money at him. Just literally walk in and just throw money in his face and walk out.
Yeah.
Get
I'm
you a
sure
he won't
slingshot.
care.
Yeah, get you a little slingshot. Don't aim for his eyes, but just, throw money at him with a little.
Or stripper it and just like make it rain.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you were going to tell him to shove it in his underpants.
Just treat him like a stripper, put it in his G-string.
Try it. See what happens.
Go, follow us on all our social media, rate and review the podcast anywhere you listen to it. Recommend us to your friends. Make sure they're listening. And if they aren't, force them to, because that makes you a better person. We'll see you all next week. I keep saying that. You know what I mean. I
Yeah.
have been Derek.
I'm still Whitney.
I shit in my hat and I'm Jack.
Yeah.
Go chuck yourself.
Like you can hear just fine when I do that.
Yeah, it
Not
sounds like
just
you're
fine.
talking inside of a bag full of burritos.
You're talking in a bag.
What is that a common expression where you come from?
in this house? Maybe.
A bag full of burritos. All right.
This movie's a bag full of burritos.